Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live, the award-winning poker show that teaches you how to play Texas Hold'em poker. I'm the night nurse, Michelle Orpe. Your eyes do not deceive you, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, sitting next to me, it is Dr. Tom.
Woohoo! How are you doing, Michelle?
How are you, Tom?
I'm all right.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, yes.
You've been away for a while as well, haven't you?
I have.
Playing some poker?
Yes, I had a trip over the pond to Reno.
Nice.
Lost all my money, but there you go.
Did you lose all your money?
Well, I was on a free roll, to be honest, so I didn't make any money. So
Well, we'll let you off just
okay.
this once.
Can I tell my bad beat story later?
We'll see. We'll ask the viewers.
All right.
Well, Dr. Tom is our poker expert of the evening. We are going to be watching poker games played on the internet. Now, they are live. They're being played by real people on the net. And we've put a 10-15 minute delay in there, so our players can't see each other's cards by looking at the telly. We, however, of course, can see everybody's hold cards, and it's a wonderful way to learn the game. It is Texas Hold'em. It is no limit. And like I said, it's all real cash. 5 cards to win the hand, and we'll be teaching you, or Dr. Tom at least, will be advising you on what you should and shouldn't be doing. But the show is about you guys at home. So if you have any questions or you don't understand anything that you're watching, do make sure you contact us. The text number is 84222. There it is on your screen. If you don't want to text, you can email. The email is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And in the break, why don't you look us up on the web? World Wide Web, pokernightlive.co.uk. There's a good forum up there where you can start your own threads and have a chat about particular things that are worrying you or you're not sure about. Tonight we're going to be watching cash games, we're going to be watching tournaments, and we're going to be watching multi-table tournaments. Don't worry if you don't know anything between the three. We'll be teaching you what the difference is as well. So let's have a little look at the tables that we're going to be having a look at tonight, Doc.
Okay, let's have a look at them.
Can you do that?
I think I can. It's within my range of capabilities. Table 1, please.
Wonderful.
Here it is. It's a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. Delightfully named Scab in seat 6. Lovely. Moving on. We've got a $2 sit and go. Yes, we do cater for the lower range of stakes on Poker Night Live. There it is. Pair of aces for Sol. Looking all right. Oh dear, mullered on the river. There you go. Game of pure luck, I say. Table 3, here it is. A $5 sit and go. More than double the stakes. Not going to break anyone's bank account, though, I don't think. Not even the students on the table. And on to table 4, we have the $20 1,000 added Poker Night Live multi-table tournament in the early stages there, Michelle. 10-20 the blinds, and we'll be coming back to that later to catch the thrilling final table.
Yes, excellent. We will look forward to the final table. And we're going to be trying to watch some cash games tonight as well, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Try and get stuck into some cash. See how... maybe do a cash game first.
Could be. Well, your shout, Michelle.
Yeah,
you're on the anchor.
Well, there you have it. It's going to be poker all night. Now, I'll be playing in a poker game a bit later on as well. The reason being is that we can watch a whole tournament from start to finish with me playing in it. I can talk through why I did what I did, and Dr. Tom will be telling me why I shouldn't be doing that. Or when I do something right. Mm-hmm. Will you be as harsh as James?
Well, I got knocked out last night, Michelle, in 6th place, so I'm not feeling in a sort of particularly critiquing mood, but we'll see.
Place?
Ace 9. So I was playing with Nick's money, so it's fine.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yep.
That's terrible, 6th place. What's wrong? What's happened?
Well, I don't know. I didn't get the cards,
Are you a bit jet lagged?
No. You think I've been away or something?
Well, we'll see how I do a bit later. I've got a good track record at the moment. I've been in the money 6 times and I've been out of the money 5 times. It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. But, you know, variance can work either way,
Michelle. Are you so bitter because you're not doing
well, we'll see how you get on tonight, Michelle, won't we?
Well, we will see later. Now, I've jinxed it. But as promised, let's start with the cash game.
Let's.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So what is it, Doc? What is this Texas Hold'em we speak of?
It's the old Ammonite intro. Okay, well, it's a great form of poker. It's a game everyone's playing these days. Draw poker, the old-fashioned 5 cards in your hand, change 1, is officially dead, boring. Only old people play it. We don't want to play that game anymore. This is a game...
They play in Desperate Housewives.
Do they?
Yep.
It's probably because the scriptwriter is not with the kids of today.
Do you think?
Yeah. Or maybe there's some sort of retro postmodern chic about it. I don't know. But basically, Texas Hold'em is a better game. It's got more action, it's got more rounds of betting, and more people can play it because they've only got 2 cards in their hand. So it's all round better. There they are. They've got the 2 cards. Do I sound a bit like Peter Snow on election night?
Never.
Okay.
Far too young.
Thank you.
He is.
Ha ha ha. They've got the 2 whole cards, and there will eventually be 5 cards in the middle, the community cards that they all share simultaneously, and they're looking to make the best poker hand, the best 5-card poker hand they can. So far, all of them have got 5 cards. They've got 2 in the middle. Take that back, they've got 2 in their hand, 3 in the middle, but 2 more will come, so they'll have 7 cards to choose their hand from. At the moment, looking around the table there, the pair of 6s in Crash Flux's hand is the best hand because none of those cards on the boards pair up with any of the cards that the other players are holding, so a pair of 6s is good. Scab betting out there.
Scab has a gut shot, though, if a queen were to come.
Or a 7,
or
in fact.
Or a 7.
Yeah, so a big old
so an up and downer.
Yes, so let's get that jargon in early.
Yep.
But it's not come, it's bet on the come, as they say. Still betting on the come.
It surprises me that Driver's called the first bet with nothing but an ace high.
Well, he's got a pair of 3s. Even on the flop.
On the flop, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's
the original bet.
He's a bit of a nutter, isn't he, I think?
A nutter?
Yeah, he's a nutter.
Well, it hasn't worked, has it, for poor old Scab? Oh, it has. 7, 8. Oh, he's 7's come, so he's got 7, 8, 9, 10 jack.
Yeah, it makes a straight on the river. There you go. And that's the thing about poker. Lots of people think you just sit there and wait for a good hand and then you bet it. Nothing could be further from the truth. Sometimes you've got to bet before you get your hand. Otherwise, people will know that you've got a hand when you bet. You've got to keep them guessing.
So we have the blinds.
Mm.
There, we can see them there. We have Frankie Doodle has the dealer button, and we have $25. So it's always dollars on the net. Mellow Cat is forced to put in $25, and Folly is forced to put in, cents. What's wrong with me? I'm excited about being with you again,
Well, it's
Doc.
a very common phenomenon with young blonde women.
25 cents for Mellow Cat and 50 cents for Folly. So why are they there? What's the point of those blinds?
Well, the blinds stimulate the action. I love saying that. And they do that because they are forced bets, which means that the next player to act after the big blind, so on this occasion Crash Fluxo, who just folded his cards, he immediately faces a decision. Should I call? Or should I raise? Or should I fold? Should I stay or should I go, basically, is what he's got to decide. And because there's already 75 cents in there, with the small and the big blind, there is money to fight over, and that's an important part of poker. There must be something in the middle to fight over. Otherwise, why would you bet? You might as well just check and wait till you make a royal flush and then bet it.
Well, Mellow Cat may be able to let Drivers have another card here for free because he's got 3 jacks, but there's nothing really too scary about that board, is there? He's got the top trips, top set. It's not flushing. It's unlikely the other person has a straight draw. So he could have maybe checked there, given the other player a free card and hoped for him to bet at him.
Absolutely, Michelle. He made the nuts, as you quite correctly point out. There was no easy way for anyone to improve over him. There was no straight draw, there was no flush draw, there was nothing there. So he could well have quite happily checked there and tried to get his opponent to bet. Not necessarily the right thing to do, you know, sometimes if you're up against a nutter, then what's the point in slow playing? You may as well just bet because he'll probably call you.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, I suppose that it is always going to be a risk because they could always catch a couple of cards which will be beating you in the end. So it is a dodgy one, but it can be profitable, can't it?
Yep, calculated risk, that's what it's all about. Anyone who doesn't like risk cannot win at poker. It's not that sort of game. I don't know what sort of game is a game where you don't have to deal with risk. Can't think of any.
Bowling?
Bowling?
There's not much risk involved. Well, unless you throw yourself down the bowling pin, as some of my friends have been known to do.
Oh, you mean 10-pin bowling?
Yeah.
Right. The only 10-pin bowler I know is Harv from Cagney and Lacey. And he doesn't look like he's the sort of person who takes lots of risks, apart from maybe with donuts.
This is interesting because, look, Drivers has bet out with the ace and Pool 8 ball has the flush draw and the straight draw. Actually, he has the straight.
Big draw.
See how sometimes it takes you a while to see what's going on?
It does, it does. He had it on the flop and he made it on the turn. That was the way you could have got out of it, but too late now, eh? New case.
Well, this is great because this shows you that you really have to concentrate while you watch this game. You really have to always be on the ball, don't you? Work out what other people could have, what you've got. Are they beating you? Could they be beating you? And of course, our only tool of working that out is by our betting patterns we can see.
Yep. So who's winning, do you reckon? Whose hand would you like here? Guy with the straight, there's Scab with the 10, but there's a flush draw for driver. You can take a diamond there to make I
suppose you've got to take it straight because it's made and try and bet him off it, not give him odds to hit his flush.
Well, then Paul 8-ball is drawing to a big old full house. As it was, none of them came in, and Scab's 10 there is still good.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Can he get paid? I don't think he can get paid. Oh, drivers is all in, so he's not going to get paid by him. Pool ball with 2 pair. The straight is kind of screaming out at it, but there's $22 in the pot. Scab bet 5, and it was just a bit too cheap for Pool 8 to pass.
The infamous 7, 8. So first decision, am I going to play with these 2 cards? But bear in mind, we have people raising, all sorts going on pre-flop. You've only got 2 cards of a 5-card hand, so your hand pre-flop is going to be completely different to a potentially brilliant hand after the flop or terrible hand after the flop. So what helps you make that decision whether to play with the 2 cards you have?
Well, yeah, you're right, Michelle, but anyone who says to me any 2 cards can win, which is basically the philosophy is there that you don't know what's going to come, so only 2 cards can win, is probably, if they believe it, going to be a loser. Because experience tells you that some hands have a much, much better chance of making a decent hand than others. 2, 9, for example. Well, sometimes you make a full house, even then it won't always win. Pair of aces doesn't even need to improve, it's so big. So a bit of experience, or if you're a newcomer to poker, a bit of research on the net, or maybe buying a bit of the poker literature will give you a fair idea of the ranking of the starting hands. And believe me, in Texas Hold'em, there is a big, big difference between a good starting hand and a poor starting hand. In the short run, anything can happen. In the long run, what's going to happen must happen.
Generally, the higher the cards, the better.
Yeah, you want big
pairs.
Big pair, big cards, ace, kings, good starting hand.
But obviously, then if you are going to choose, if you have chosen to play with your 2 cards, you have to be able to work out whether those cards are good or not once the flop comes down.
Much harder to do, much harder to do. And again, experience counts for a lot here.
Well, here we can see Loomis has the pair of 6s, with the pair of 3s already on the board, and the ace, so he has 2 pair with an ace. But of course, Frankie Doodle takes it.
Yeah, he had the higher 2 pair there.
Unfortunate.
Now, there's that ace king we're talking about. It's of the suited subspecies.
So he's likely to raise, he does. So take a good look at what type of hands people are likely to play with. Things like Queen 5, Queen 6, they're rag hands. It's not worth putting the extra money in.
No.
Because even if you do hit your queen, it's very likely that Scab has a big hand because he's raised.
Yeah, he might have a pair of kings. He might have a better queen, maybe queen, king, queen, ace. So best avoided. Also, of course, those players were out of position.
So we've got 4 betting rounds. 1 betting round pre-flop, a 2nd betting round after the flop, a 3rd betting round after the turn, which is the 4th card, and a 4th and final betting round after the river, which is the 5th card. 2 ways to win, by either having the best hand or being able to make your opponent think you have the best hand and making him fold.
Or buying shares in an internet poker site. That's the 3rd way.
Yep. Are you going to help me with that one?
Okay.
Can you lend me some money?
Never lend to gamblers. That's what people always say to me.
So what about here? Because Malakat has the queens, but there's a king out there.
Yeah, the king will save him, actually. If there were 3 cards below his queen, he'd be in trouble there with Pigeonhead holding the set of 8s there. It's pretty much invisible. No one can read Pigeonhead for a pair of 8s. He's got a mystery hand, and he's going to take more money off Crash for sure here. $24 in the pot. How much? $12? How much is Crash going to bet?
What should he bet?
Well, Well, I think he should probably bet about $12. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know Pigeon Head's got eights. He's got to protect his hand against Pigeon Head making two pairs. Say if Pigeon Head's got just one eight or he's got an ace.
Maybe he's got four spades.
Yeah, also, yeah. And that may slow down Crash Flux. Ooh. Now, this is a difficult decision. You face a lot in poker. Has Pigeon Head got the flush, or is he representing the flush? As it was, he had trip eights. Crash Flux paid him off. Good game, eh?
Yeah, wow. We saw some action already.
Lively game.
Okay, well, we will be heading back to that cash game. Before we do, we want to take a quick look at our multi-table tournament, so let's head over there. There it is.
Lovely jubbly. Look, the blinds have gone up.
15:30. Okay, we have 51 people in this tournament.
51?
Yep. So not as many as usual.
Wow, with how much added? $1,000. Is this $1,000? This is terrific value. That is unbelievable.
Hey, so they've added $1,000.
They've added $1,000.
So basically, all the 51 runners have paid $20 to play.
And they've added basically $20 a head for each player.
Wow.
So
the prize pool with 51 runners would be, do the math.
51 runners times 20. Well, 1,000.
Oh, yeah. Of course. 1,000. So they've added another 1,000. So instead of being 1,000 in the prize pool, there's 2,000. Which means first place will take $606. Did that math quick, didn't I?
You did. Fantastic. How did you work that out, Michelle? Could you explain your working for the viewers?
It's just straight in my head. You know, like the 2 plus 2, you see 4 automatically.
And so look at the monitor in front of you.
So we've got, everyone's been given 2,000 chips for their $20 they've paid to play. And as people are knocked out, so bear in mind there's going to be about, I don't know, 8 tables in play. As people are knocked out, the tables will be condensed to have got a final table, which we'll watch at the end of the night.
Thrill a minute. But seriously, that's terrific value. I mean, it's difficult turning a profit in poker, believe me, because, of course, the house is taking a rake. So when you find a game like this where there's added money, whenever there's added money to a tournament, that is dead money. You know, no one's fighting for that money. It's already in there. So sit down, and getting this kind of added money is huge, basically to double everyone's entry stake. I mean, that's huge. There's the 8 in Miss Votovova's hand. That gives her straight. And I think she can probably afford to bet this for value, and she does. And it's quite a nice bet, a little milking bet, looking to get paid by someone who says, oh, go on, let's have a look, keep you honest. But Portman, with such a small pair, lets it go. Good fold from Portman, and probably a correct bet from Miss Votovova. Calling under the gun with ace-9. Passive play. I would say raise or fold there, and preferably fold. However, they're only 7-handed, but I still don't like passive play.
What are your takes on ace-9? What's your feeling? Because it's quite a difficult hand to know what to do with. I mean, it's a hand you can play in late position, but when you're under the gun, is it easy enough to put down, or is it a hand maybe you can be limping in with?
This is a hand I got knocked out with last night, actually.
Really?
Really, yes. But I was in the big blind. Well, I'll do the justifications later, but basically, in early position, if you don't need to play it, which he certainly doesn't with these blinds, then only play it if you're going in... Oh, he's got it again. Only play it if you're going in with a clear battle plan. Don't just go in because you think, oh, well, it's ace, you know, I'll see what the flop brings.
Because if you hit your ace, you're still going to be a little bit wary. Exactly,
yeah. You just... The only flop you really love to see is 2 pair, aces and 9s. So don't play it just on the basis of its value, because its value is not great. It suffers from what poker players call reverse implied odds.
Well, this is unfortunate for Miss Votovova because she's got the ace-queen suited, which is a big hand.
Not bad.
But she's running into Blagger Mike, who's got the ace-king suited.
Yep.
Well, they've both missed.
Yeah, she might take it with a bet. That's the great thing about poker. You don't have to have the business. You've just got to persuade your opponent you do, which makes it quite a democratic game.
Yeah. She's not made it very expensive.
No, but she has found out that Blagger Mike doesn't love the board's cards there, because he's only called out. Now Blagger has taken the initiative and bet back. I love that bet. I love that bet. He's really read Miss Fotovova well, and I think he's going to push Miss Fotovova out.
He does have the better hand at this stage.
He does. I wonder if he could stand a re-raise. Well, we'll never know. Good.
The doc likes Blagger Mike. Oh, we've got the Blitz, American Airlines. Got the Sevens, Vim Fugo.
Do you know a nickname for the Sevens?
No.
No, I don't either.
I'll think of something. Coat hangers?
Not bad.
The Swords?
Not
that's
quite
rubbish.
so good. The apostrophes. Ace is still good there. That's not a terribly scary flop. Cyberman's probably hoping that someone's caught a jack and nothing more.
He bets the pot.
And takes it down. Fold-tastic. Well, there you go. It's a walk for Tecker.
Gives it free.
And again, not much out there. Miss Fotovova could put in a bet here, provided the blinds are reasonably tight and prepared to relinquish their money. 9 jack suited. It's not a great hand, but I think I'd have chucked in 90 there. Keep them guessing.
Tried to steal those blinds. Big tea leaf.
Yep, afraid so. Oh, we're off.
We're going to head over to one of our other tables on the multi-table tournament, and we've got the chip leader on this table. Philosophy.
Oh, look, snap it. In seat 6. How are you doing, Ken? Well, he can't answer, can he? It's a bit like when the dentist talks to you when he's got his tools in your mouth. You know, you can't talk back. But how are you doing, snap it?
Snap it. Mayface has an ace king. Although you'll know this because his hand happened about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, danger. There's an uncharacteristic call from Snap It. He's getting 3-1, but he's called his suited cards, and oh no, Moface has got better ones, and that is a nightmare situation. He better pray that he makes his straight, not his flush.
He's an 8 or a 3.
Yep. Oh dear, he's made his flush there. And how did he get away from that so cheaply? I just don't understand how he made... How did he get away so cheaply from that
Well,
machine?
I don't know. Mayface decided not to go all in. Maybe he thought if I only put it in half, I might get a call. But did Snap It fold? Did he pay him off at the end there? I missed it.
Well, he's still got all his chips. I thought he was going to do the lot. I missed who didn't bet.
Mayface bet 450.
And Snap It folded.
He must have, yeah.
Well, that was a brilliant fold then. Bizarre.
But then why would he be playing in the first place for the straight?
Well, he got the wibbly wobblies. But, I mean, I don't know how he folded there. Let us know, Ken. I'm sure you're near a computer.
Poker at pokernightlive.co.uk. 84 222 on the text. Put the word poker first, of course.
Poker on leaves out. How not to delays the decision by just calling. It's been checked to, and I think a check is wise here, because if he bets, he'll only get called by a better hand. And that's what happened. Also, by betting there, that small amount, when he's winning, even if by a miracle he gets paid by a worse hand, a lot of the time he'll get raised, and some of the times he's been raised, he'll wrongly fold to a bluff. So it's unwise on the river when you're last to act with an iffy sort of hand to put in a very, very small bet, because what you gain when it's called is tiny compared to what you lose when you fold to a hand you would have beat if you just checked.
Well, Chipper's got his queen. Philosophy's got his ace. So jacks can get away quite easily, can't they, with the queen and an ace out there?
Yeah, still difficult for some people to lay down, but yeah with 3 players.
Well, I mean, if you've raised, because generally with jacks I'm going to be raising it pre-flop. Now, if you've raised with jacks pre-flop and people have called you, the likelihood is they are holding something like an ace or a king or a queen in their hand.
That's right, yeah. When you've got 2 overcards there, there's a grave danger someone's got one. And furthermore, You're the guy who bet, so as far as they're concerned, you could well have one of those cards. So if they're betting into you, it really strongly implies they've got one, because they don't know that you haven't, and possibly even a better hand.
They may be bluffing at you if they think you're sitting there with an ace.
That's the crucial aspect. That's the bit of poker that many beginners don't understand, is looking at what their own behaviour looks like to their opponents and working out from that what their opponents must be. If you look strong, people aren't likely to try and bluff you.
As a big blind hits trip eights.
Wow.
With a 5-8.
Yeah, 5 no good for Mo Face. It'd be carnage if the case 5 comes down.
I don't think how not to is going to get paid by the 5s.
No, only a diddly bet. Oh, that might get paid.
Yep, 100 was it. So a value bet when you're betting in hope to get called.
That's right.
Well, let's have a look at one of the other tables. So our players get a look at the TV. Here we go. Ram Chip, Mr. Poker Ice. Hi, hello. Fifi's sat there. Hot Flusher. El Pig.
El Pig.
El Pig.
He's a veteran. He does quite well in these games.
Does he?
Yeah, he's made a lot of money on the Poker Night Live multi-table tourneys.
Wow.
Not really got off the starting blocks here, but we'll see.
If you're sat there in a multi-table tournament and it's been a while, and say you've got to this point, 25-15, you still haven't had a hand, and you still haven't done anything because you haven't had a hand. What do? Do you have to wait for a situation where you think you can bluff it? Because people are going to think you're tight because you haven't been playing.
To be honest, Michelle, I mean, although the longer you go without playing a hand, the more easy it is to bluff. In a sort of bog standard $20 sit down multi-table game on the internet, where about 30% of the people will just be having a laugh and not playing particularly good poker, at this stage of the game, I think you're wisest just not to bluff. And it doesn't matter if you've lost maybe even a third of your chips, you're down to say 1,000 chips from 1,500 or whatever. Provided you've still got 20 or 30 big blinds, you can wait. And you may as well wait, because if you're in the sort of game where bluffs don't work, don't try and
people
bluff.
will call you anyway, especially the chasers that don't understand not
That's
getting
right.
the odds to call.
That's right. Save it for the end. The last 2 or 3 tables, people have had a chance to watch your play. Probably the better players will be in, the terrible players will be knocked out. Then you can start playing against your table image and putting in bluffs when you've had a bit of a card drought. But at this stage, I mean, I've done it myself. I've got to a point where I thought, well, no, I must be able to run a bluff because I've not played a hand for the last hour. I still get called. So, and it's my fault for not appreciating the sort of game I'm in.
Yeah, I find it a lot in the levels that I play. I mean, I played up $10 sit and goes at home, and people just don't. People will forever chase. And you think to yourself, should I still put in the bets? Because in the long run, they're making mistakes. So in the long run, I'm going to take money off them. So am I still right to not give them the odds to call and make them call? Or do I think, well, they're going to call anyway? It's quite difficult to know which way you should go. Should I just not bother betting because I know they're going to call? And I may not even hit I may not be ahead, or...
Yeah, I mean,
it's a difficult decision.
If you're drawing, just check and try and make it cheaply. But if you've got a bigger hand, of course, they're never going to be that far behind. And you just got to say, well, you know, if they hit and they paid the wrong odds to draw, then in the long run, I'm going to be a winner.
Yeah. Whenever your opponent makes a bad call or a mistake, that's a good thing. In the long run, you'll take money off them.
That's what we say to ourselves, through gritted teeth. I'll win in the long run. Unfortunately, they've got all our chips by them. 3 pair for Ramchip, no good, and he knows it. Little steal there, Jack 10, not a great hand. He's not looking for a call, and if he is called, he'll assume that his Jack 10 is behind. But it's not, so fine. There it is again, Hoofy's got it.
10 Jack. Another one. I never know what to do with the 10 Jack when it's raised to me, when I'm in position. That's the time when I struggle. When I'm trying to come in, someone's made a raise and I'm sitting in position thinking, well, I've got position, but I hate 10-jack.
Yeah, I fold it.
And I'll put it down, yeah.
Yeah,
but so many people say you should play 10-jack.
Yeah, I tell you what, Michelle, people talk about 10-jack as if it's the holy grail because it flatters their own idea of their abilities as a player, because it's not a strong hand, but it's got possibilities. You know, you can make a straight, and of course you can... He's made a straight, look.
I said Jack Queen King. See, it's wonderful.
But I mean, it's not as though if he went all in with it. You know, he's happy to have the straight, but I think he'll admit there that he didn't take a particularly proactive approach with it. Now, the thing about 10-jack is, in the situation where you describe, where you're in position and someone else has bet at you, you've lost the initiative. I mean, sure, you can raise, but if you raise for half your chips and the guy calls, well, you're going into a flop with not much ammunition left and not much of a hand. He's got the initiative when he bets into you. If you call him and the flop comes down, there's a good chance he'll bet whatever the flop is, whether he's hit or missed. And in a tournament like this, by the time he bets on the flop, you might not have too many chips left. So even if you are a great poker player and you can put in a raise with knowing he hasn't got much, he may call you anyway. So 10-jack's a highly situational hand, and lots of people play it just because they think they're a great player and they can get around the fact that it's not a very good hand. I will play it, I'll play it strong in some situations, but I've got to have a terrific read on my opponent to justify going into a pot with jack high and a bad kicker.
Yeah. Also, I find myself, I don't know if this is the right or wrong thing to do, when I'm playing heads up, or maybe 3 left in a tournament, well, let's say heads up, if I get something like 7-8 or 8-9, I'm still not playing it. I'd rather wait for the high card. That's the wrong thing. Is that the wrong thing to do? I still find myself thinking I'd rather have the high card than the 7-8 suited.
In heads up?
But than the 7-8, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Heads up games, all about high cards.
I see so many people will push all in with these connecting cards.
Are they good players?
Probably not.
Maybe not. I mean, heads up play, you're looking for the ace or the king.
Looking for the high card,
or a
so
couple
it's the
of
right thing to do.
Yeah.
But because people call them live cards. You know, let's go in because I've got a couple of live cards. But
Well, I mean, maybe if you've got hardly any chips, but I mean, why go into a pot when you're behind?
See, that's what I thought.
Well, you're right.
Excellent. I learned from the best. We've got some emails here. We've got one from Andy. He says, hi, what is the best way to play a pocket pair of aces? I always get beat with them. And have you got any stats on them? Tar. Well, this is the age-old argument we have of aces and bad beats, and people don't like to play the aces. I think they're mental. I'd have the aces every time if I could.
Me too.
But what is this problem with aces?
The problem is that people think that they play themselves. I mean, they think if they've got a pair of aces, they've got a God-given right to win the pot. And if they play them badly and someone wins through playing, say, 7-8 well, the guy with the 7-8 is a lucky fish. Not necessarily true at all. You've got to play aces like any other hand. You've got to use a bit of common sense. You asked for a few stats. Well, basically, aces are miles ahead of anything else. Against a pocket pair, well, the pocket pair is about 9-2 to make the hand, so less than 20%. Could be slightly better than that if it's sixes, which have got a reasonable amount of size, amount of space each side of the sixes to make a straight. But basically, aces are a long way ahead. The worst hand you can have against you if you're holding aces is something like suited connectors, say 7-8 suited. But even then, they're in pretty bad shape. They're about 3-1 against making a hand. So basically, if you've got the aces before the flop, if you can get all your money in before the flop and get called, there is no better way to play aces. I mean, that is the best way you can play it. So if you're in a loose game where people are likely to call you, then start trying to build that pot before the flop. Put in a bet. They might raise you. You might well find yourself all in against your opponent before the flop. So that's your aim. That is your aim. But, of course, if you're deep in chips and your opponents are deep in chips, realistically, it's relatively unlikely you'll be able to get yourself all in before the flop and get called. So what you're looking to do is to narrow the field with aces, and that's absolutely crucial. If you let 7 or 8 other people see the flop with you, sure, your hand is beating any particular hand of your opponent's, but the combined field against you makes you a big, big dog there. You're probably going to lose the pot. So you want to narrow the field down, preferably to just one opponent. Preferably isolate the one loose guy at the table. But basically, you're looking to get rid of as many opponents as possible so that you can read your opponent, because of course you've raised, he's called. That tells you a lot of information about his hand. But secondly, you don't have that huge weight of people with disparate sorts of hands who can easily make 2 pair on the flop. So that's my tip to you. Know you're ahead, bet it, get the field down to 1 or 2 players, and then have a look at the flop. Nearly always you're going to be ahead on the flop, and usually I think you should bet the flop.
Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome.
Look, we've got an email from Penny. She says, I googled the good doctor. It's always good fun. Would it be possible to get a demonstration of his stage combat skills? Thanks for a great show. I watch it every night. Stage combat skills? Really?
Well, you know,
Come on then.
I did audition for the latest Jet Li film.
Can you do a bit of the...
Yeah, I can do a bit, but you know, it's dangerous, Michelle, because you're not trained in stage combat. And
Oh, I don't know. I played Robin Hood once, and I had to do a sword fight in a panto with the Sheriff of Nottingham.
you look like you're waving a fan around.
It was a sword.
Okay, not a lightsaber.
So we should do it one day.
Okay.
Oh,
maybe
you
off
should take
camera.
Kara on, because she's a kickboxer.
See, well, maybe I shouldn't take her on.
She can actually do it.
Yeah.
We'll work on him, Penny. We'll try and get... I mean, we got him to sing once on the show. I reckon we can get him to show us
That's
some
true.
moves. Doc, what do you fancy? Should we go back to our cash game?
Please.
Let's head back to the cash game. A 51. That's wonderful. Thanks, Penny. I'm going to Google you now and see what comes up.
Penny,
No, you.
could you not Google me?
Can you commentate on the cash game while I do it?
Well, I'm not going to say anything to force you to commentate.
All right. Well, look, shall I say who we've got? We've got Master Flash 1. We've got Matt, Ace, King, Queen, Jack 10. Cincinnati Kid, River Downs, Tekka, and RNC 8885. So it's the same as the cash game we watched at the beginning of the night, but it's 50 cent $1.
Double the stakes.
So it's double the stakes.
Yep, and it doesn't sound much, 50 cents $1, but those are just the blinds, and it's a no-limit game. So, thank God you don't know how to spell my name.
I've spelled it wrong.
So all the money these players are holding could well go into the middle at any time.
Ooh, you're on something to do with the BBC.
And struggling to keep it together here on Poker Night Live. Not Google Night Live.
What? This is good for you.
Let me see. There's 5 cards in the middle, and someone's put 3 chips in. Extraordinary game.
You come 13th out of 750 players. That's something.
It was a beetle drive in the local community hall.
I'm going to go to images.
There are the bad aces.
There you are. Everybody, go to Google, click on images and put in Tom Sunbrook and tell me how much he looks like Gene Wilder. Which is a compliment, because he's a very good-looking man.
As is Noddy Holder. You realise it's only 10:30. This sort of stuff
All right,
normally goes
stop.
on about 1:30.
I'll stop.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm happy now.
Well, I can see that Master Flash has the king, Riverdaz has the queen.
What brilliant, insightful analysis the punters are used to hearing on Poker Night Live. What about
yeah.
RNC?
He didn't have anything.
Okay. Is that why he folded?
I'm guessing so. And he's in early position.
Look, he made a straight.
He did?
No, he didn't really, but he nearly made a straight.
Okay. See how I take your word for it?
Yeah, it's quite sweet. And tempting.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about position. This is something else you have to think about, isn't it, when you're playing?
What are your thoughts on position, Michelle?
Well, we'd rather have it than not.
And what do you mean by having position?
Okay, well, as far as I see it, the dealer button there, if you're sat on the dealer button, you are last to act every round. This is wonderful because it means that you get to see everybody's information before you have a decision to make. So you get to see what everybody else thinks they have in their hand. You get to see the action, you get to see what people are going to do. If you're sitting where Master Flash is sitting and you don't know whether you're ahead or not and you make a bet, somebody to your left could easily re-raise you, do something tricky, go all in. They may be sitting there with the wonderful hands and nuts, and you won't know. So you'll put money in, they'll re-raise you, they'll come over the top of you. Now you have to put it down, and you've wasted that money. Whereas if you're sitting on the button, you can see what they do first. So if they're going to do something like a maniac, or they're going to do something mega, you see that, you think, right, fair enough, they've made this huge raise, I can now put my second pair down. Whereas if everyone checks around you, you can think, well, look, I've got second pair, it doesn't look like anyone's got anything, it looks like everyone's being a bit cheap and having a bit of a limp, or just having a check, so hey, I'm going to stick in a bet and try and steal it. And then if someone's playing tricky and re-raises me, at least I've got something. Maybe I can make something on the next card, or if not, I'll be able to put it down. It just gives you more information. So there's certain hands you can play on the button that you wouldn't play, for instance, under the gun, because you've got the power of position.
You've got the power of, not the power of love, as Jennifer Rush
Don't know
once
I'm
said.
doing your job.
Well, I'm going to Google you in a minute. You've got the power of position. And there's no way of... look, there's a straight. I mean, there really is a straight this time. Matt top straight's got it. But it wasn't the top straights. There's no way around this, really, because you can say... I mean, people will say, well, all right, you know, fine, you're in late position, but what if the person in early position puts in, you know, a bluff or a deceptive play?
Well, if you haven't got great cards, you can easily fold.
You can. And what's more is that what's to say that you, sitting there on the button, don't have a brilliant read on your opponent, and you know what their action there means, that it's a bluff or it's a slow play or whatever. Basically, all information in poker, whether it's sort of genuine, honest information or attempted misinformation, is worth having if you're a good player. If you're a good player, you will work out what the bet of your opponent means, regardless of what he's trying to do. And so you want to be in late position and see whether he's going to bet or not.
Sometimes you do get a feel, and I think these feelings that you get is because somewhere inside you are taking in the information.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many times where I've got to say a turn or a river, and I'm trying desperately to remember what happened pre-flop. What did he do? Did he raise? What happened? Who came in? Who did what? And so many times you forget and you can't remember what happened, which is terrible. Obviously you don't, but obviously for beginning players, you're so busy concentrating on what you're doing at the time, you forget what's just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you need that information. And sometimes you do get a feeling where you have actually taken in that information and it is there in the back of your mind. So when you're getting that feeling that you should be calling or folding or raising, it's because your mind is telling you, actually, we do know what's happened, we do know what's gone on here.
Mm-hmm.
And it truly does work like that. So it's not like you're getting a gut feeling. It's like you have taken in all the information that's been given to you, and that's helping you make a decision. But it is so hard sometimes to remember everything that's happened, especially when you're learning. You've got so much to think about anyway. The pre-flop is a long way away from the river. It was ages ago when you're sitting on the river trying to work out what they've been up to and what they could have.
Yeah, I often get to the river and say to myself, what was I thinking of when I decided to play these cards? Because I can't remember.
Look, as he hits a set.
Set versus top pair and a flush draw. What a great game. I think Master Flash is going to have to play this, so he's just decided not to raise. It's a very cautious play for Master Flash. I think he's worried about the high queen in Matt's hand. He just got duffed up a minute ago by Matt.
I think on that board, though, you've got to think your set's good, surely.
Yeah, Matt's going to bet for value here. There it is, nice
I mean,
bet.
a 5 would give him a straight, obviously, but...
He might get paid here. Tempting. Because it's possible Matt was drawing to something.
He's not getting the best odds in the world, is he, there, though? 35 into 85.
Did he call? I think he called, didn't he? Yeah, he did call.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit too tempting to put top pair down for Master Flash, and he pays off Matt, who's playing well. There's Jack 10.
There it is. What does Cincinnati Kid do with it? Now let's have a look, because he is on position here. So 10 Jack is the type of hand.
This is a place where I might well raise, because I sense weakness from Master Flash.
Because he's limped.
He might well fold here. If he does call, I'm going to bet at him on the flop. I'm going to represent that ace. And this is a sort of situational play with Jack 10 I think you can make. But you're getting a lot of evidence there from your opponents that you can take this pot without hitting the Jack or the 10. And that's crucial. And that's exactly what he's done. So I think he's played that nicely. And I think there the Jack 10 bet is justified. Snappy lets it go. He's multi-tabling. He was on the multi-table last time we saw him. And there's trips for Master Flash. He's been having trouble recently at this table, but let's see if he can recoup some of it up against top pair there. I'm sure he's going to get some money out of RNC. If he raises here, I think RNC will have to let it go, reading Master Flash either for an 8 or a 9 with a better kicker.
Would it be the worst thing in the world to call here?
Yeah, I like a call here.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like a call.
Because he's ahead, he doesn't have to worry about a flush. There may be an up and down straight in someone's hand. 7, 8, 9. Do you have to really be worried about that when it's only one opponent? I
do, because even if my opponent's got something like Jack 9, now he's got to draw to a straight. But I love the call from Master Flash because he's representing a weak 9, something like 9, 4. He doesn't know RNC's got a terrible 9 himself. He's hoping RNC's got a good 9, maybe 9 ace, 9 king. Maybe here make the bet though, rather than give him another card on the river? Here I think he must raise, it's too dangerous. Oh, he's called. But he's just called again, and now it's 7, 8, 9, 10. But he's got a straight himself. He's got the Jack, yeah. Lucky. But now RNC's still betting with a weak 9. I think that's a blocking bet. I think he's... Well, if he's betting for value, it's strange, because he's not going to get called by a worse hand. And he can lay it down. He can lay it down here. I mean, it's second pair with a weak kicker. Yeah, good lay down. Good lay down. OK, we are going to leave that there, because we are heading off to a break shortly. I've got an email from Mr. Snappit. Oh. Our Ken, he says... so let me get it up. First of all, he was just playing on our cash table. He says, hi, Michelle, and welcome back, Tom. Hi, Ken. He says, yes, that multi-table tournament was like being at the dentist. Was chip leader with 4K, and then queens ran into aces, but I didn't play my hand well and should have folded when I was re-raised. On the hand with my flush, 10-6, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? And the reason I called was because it was only a minimum raise and I was already big blind and it only cost 30 to see the flop. I thought he could just be trying to make a cheap more blind, and I also had position. I then got a monster flop with flush and straight draws, and at the end he bet 450 and I did call it. Oh, because we thought he hadn't called it, but he did call it. I couldn't really put him on ace king with the same suit as me, so maybe you know, thought he was giving it a go. Yeah, but at least, I mean, I don't think you can get away from that, Ken, and at least you didn't raise him, which was good, because, of course, he might well have been betting at you with the worst flush. You did have the 10 high flush? Yeah, I think it was 10 high flush. But you didn't raise it, so, I mean, I don't think you could have folded there, but you did well not to raise, so fine, well played. Well done, Ken. I've got an email from Mickey. Good evening to you, Mickey. He says, hi, P&L. I've just heard Michelle say that in Heads Up, she will wait for the big cards. Surely this means that she will be folding an awful lot of hands pre-flop. With connecting cards, I think it's always wise to see the flop if your opponent makes it cheap enough. Even if you're first to act, it's always best to put in a small raise with your connectors. What's your opinion on this? Well, I wouldn't wait for big cards to come along. I mean, in Heads Up, I'm pretty much all in every other hand, really, if the blinds are huge. But I do wait for the bigger cards over the connecting cards. So if I've got a decision to make, I'll wait for the bigger cards if I can. Type thing. Yeah, I mean, when I said you play big cards and Heads Up, you only need one of them. You know, you don't need two. Ace 4 is a pretty slaggy sort of hand in a full table, but Heads Up, Ace 4 is not a bad hand at all. I see what you're saying about raising with connectors and Heads Up. I don't mind it, but then to be honest, if I've been calling a bit with a range of different hands, I don't mind calling with those hands either, because I don't think it gives my opponent too much information. And I just hate it when I raise pre-flop with something like 8, 9, and I get back raised, because then I've got to let it go. So again, I stick by what I say. It's all about having a big hand, big card in your hand with Heads Up, unless you've got a clear situational play. Thanks, Doc. Well, if you have any questions for our dear expert, you can text them into us. Here's the text number. It's 84 222. It's 4 for £1. That's very cheap, Michelle. It's very cheap. Hasn't gone up. Doc. It hasn't. Inflation busting. No, we don't. We don't take any notice of that. A bit like our salaries. Yeah, unfortunately. Do text the word poker first, remember? And or you can email poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And check out the web while we're away, pokernightlive.co.uk. Because we are going to a break now. Watch the poker news. When we come back, I'll be playing in Beat the Presenter, and then obviously in our third hour at 12, we'll be watching that. Dr. Tom will be talking about my play. While I'm playing that, Tom will be commentating for us. So do come back, lots of poker action to come, and we'll see you shortly. Good evening, welcome back to Poker Night Live, the show that brings you live online poker
for 4 hours, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So Dr. Tom, Night Nurse Special. Good first hour, I thought. Learned a lot about poker.
Me?
For everybody.
Oh, good, yeah. We hope so.
Well, I'm about to play in a Sit and Go tournament, so I'm going to have to pass you over to the dear doctor.
Okay, I'm ready.
Do you have any emails, Doc?
I've got one here from Major Tom, who says the nickname for sevens, pocket sevens, is the Walking Sticks.
Oh, okay.
He also says massive kiss to Michelle. Shall I pass that on?
Yeah. Should we do it in the break? I was a little bit scared.
Yes. Well, Michelle is going to go into therapy, but before she does that, she'll be playing a sit and go, which means that I am now commentating full on for the next 40 minutes or 5 minutes, however long it takes for Michelle to stamp her authority on the game. So we're going to take ourselves now down to a $10 sit and go.
Go on, give us a kiss now then, Doc.
So here we are, Banditos of the Blue Bays, blinds at the first level, $10 sit and go, so $80 in prize money, $40 to first place, 24 to second, 16 to third. It's been a while since I've commentated on one of these, so let's have a look. Scotty with a flush draw, I'm a fish with nothing, Matt with a pair of sevens, beg his pardon. Not a lot of room to move here. They've got 1,000 to start off with. Blinds doubling every 10 hands. And flush hasn't come. I'm a fish would have won with his tens, but that's by the by. He couldn't really call the bet there on the river, on the turn, so he's well out of it, and Matt takes it down. Cincinnati Kid, we saw him on the cash game. Also, Matt Top Straight was on the cash game.
Ooh, Cincinnati Kid's sitting in one of these as well, on the $30 table. There's not many other people on there.
Tempted?
Well, I would sit down, but then it might take ages to fill up. I don't suppose it would.
No,
though,
once
after I'd
you
sat
sit down, Michelle, well, there you go.
But
See,
Cincinnati Kid's in my seat.
We'll take the other one. Oh, dare you. You've got a lot of money in your account.
Yeah, that's because I keep winning.
Well, that's short-term variance, isn't it?
Shall I just go in this one? Okay, there we are. Hello. Oh, you get 2,000 chips.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So Cincinnati's got live cards there, and he's flushing, and he's got the best hand. So surprise, surprise, he's ahead on the flop. Going to be very difficult for Scotty to catch up here. He's normally got 6 outs, 3 jacks and 3 queens, but 2 of those are no good because they're spades. So he's in bad shape here. Big old 8% to win this on the river, and he must fold. He does so. Cincinnati takes it down. So still a fairly even distribution of chips here on this $10 sit and go. Could well be folded here, right round to Tom. I think with Queen 8 off, he might fancy playing those cards. No shame in folding them. They're not really great cards. I like Scotty's call less. Tom at least is getting in cheap there because he already had 10 chips in the middle from his small blind. And I imagine Matt will just flat call here. He can make a play here. He can make a play, but the trouble is if you make a play with ace-3, reckoning that Scotty doesn't have much, he might still decide to call you with ace-6. So you need to know your opponent there. Now it's been checked, down it comes. Matt's called his 3, and he's ahead on that flop. I think he's going to have to bet this. Scotty hasn't shown great strength. There is a danger Scotty's got something like a pair of 5s, a pair of 6s, sort of hands you might well call with in late position, but more likely Scotty has got 2 high cards. King 10, say, King Jack, even King 8. So I like a bet here. 60 would do it for me, a pot-sized bet. And a bit of pot down, I think. There it is. There are the walking sticks, Zimmers, Tom. I think he's going to have to bet here. 60 is good for me, and then I'll have a look at the flop and maybe bet, maybe not. Well, that's a bit cheap, it's worked. Maybe he knows something about Tekka that I don't, but I don't really want to call her with the sevens there. Eight-handed game, ace-9 in early position. You can let it go. If you fancy yourself as a player, you can play it. You can play it, but letting it go is perfectly reasonable. He's decided to bet it. Full of admiration for him so far. And if he pushes Tekka out in the small blind with ace-10, I'm even more admiring of Longy's taking the initiative there and betting it up. Don't know what Tom is thinking about. 4-5 off can go in the muck. There it is. Also Jack-3 suited likewise, straight in the muck. You would have to be certifiable to play that hand in this position against a raise. He's taking his time, and let's see what Tekka does. Difficult for Tekka because a call just leaves him in bad position on the flop, not knowing anything about his opponent. A raise is not all that great because he's got to commit a reasonable proportion of his stack. I wouldn't have blamed him for folding there. And as it is, he has called. He's let Cincinnati come in, chasing the pot odds. And Cincinnati is the player who's caught part of the flop, albeit only a pair of threes. And ironically, I think he is going to take this. He looks like he's defending a stronger hand than the one he's got, but neither player has a hand. And Cincinnati there is gambling that Longy doesn't have a pocket pair higher than the 8, with which he would certainly call. And it paid off. Well played. Queens now for Scotty. Ace-Jack for Tom. And let's see if ace-7 gets pushed out. You got problems, Michelle?
Yeah.
I can't advise you in the middle of a game,
I know.
I'm afraid. You'll have to
remember
everything I've told you
Oh.
about that hand.
I'm just going to do it.
You are such a poker genius, Michelle.
Well, it's the first go. I can't talk about it, can I?
Do you know what? Do you know what? That's pure evil, Michelle. That's a speech play.
Oh, look.
And a moody.
I'm still in.
You're still in.
Oh, excellent.
Extraordinary. What a player. Anyway, we're going to find out all in the next...
I knew what was going on.
In the next segment, you're going to find out all about Michelle's play. So it's the Queen 10 that comes in as a surprise quantity, and Tom in trouble now. I think he's going to do more than 40, because the Queen's here. Well, I think we'll want to raise it up. Oh, I hate the call. Why slow play? If the guy's drawing to a straight or a flush, he's not going to pay you on the river unless he makes you, and then you'll be paying him. Ah, well. Scotty knows better than me. Scotty's prompted the big raise. Tom's made it. And now he must go. Scotty's all in. So it's all over. He doubles through, and Tom is now down to 10 big blinds. Ace-Jack in the small blind, worth betting for value. I'll probably ramp it up to 60 here. He makes it 50. And although there's a very good chance Stanters is at it, I still think you've got to fold Queen 3 there, because you're probably not going to catch. If you do catch, there is a danger he's got a queen. And Longy's fortunate to catch the queen. Nice raise there from Longy, because it could be misinterpreted by Stanters as indicating weakness and just a sort of probing bet, but Stanters has got his head screwed on right. He lets his ace-jack go, doesn't try and make a big move with it. But a fortunate catch for Longy. Let's see if Cincinnati puts in a steal with Queen 10 suited here in the cut-off position, one before the button. Fold, fold, fold. Nothing doing with those hands. Queen 10 suited. I think he'll probably have to play this. It's not a great hand. But unless the blinds really are belligerent players, I think that hand is good enough to bet with. Or if Cincinnati's got a really bad table image, or at least a table image where people assume he's bluffing, then I think he's got to fold it. But all other things being equal, when it's being folded round to him, I don't desperately mind a call either. But I think I'd be inclined always to take the initiative and try and bet, or bet and try and take the blinds. Trouble is with the call there is, well, he's caught the queen, which is good, but there is, of course, the danger always that he'll catch and someone else will sneak in the blinds and make some mystery two-pair sort of hand. But it's worked out nicely for him. 100 in the pot, and I really feel there's no point mucking around here. I'd put in a bet of about 100 here. And he's called, he's led in, now he's got two players against him and he's got to worry about the ace. Could well have paired up with someone. Fortunately, he's got the flush draw. That gives him outs, and he knows it. Longie's bet very small. Interesting here whether Cincinnati will try and bet for value. The way the betting has gone, certainly if Longie just checks here, it doesn't look like he's got an ace. But betting for value is a bit dangerous here, because if he does come in with a small bet, trying to milk some money out of Longie, there is a danger he will find a raise getting socked back at him. These blinds, I'm sure, due to go up very, very soon now.
Everyone's saying that it's good to see you back, Tom.
Oh, that's very sweet of them.
It is.
And Cincinnati can let this go. King Jack offsuit is almost certainly behind against a raiser there. And I think that's a crazy call. He's lucky to catch the king, and he's lucky that he's caught the king and he's not dominated by ace-king. But I really feel that's a weak play from Cincinnati there. The queen will give him straight. And a jack will give Stanters straight. So Stanters with 5 outs. And he knows Cincinnati is putting the pressure on him. There's only one overcard to his queens. He's made his decision. He's decided you're bluffing. And if you are not bluffing, at least I've got some outs. But unfortunately, Cincinnati had it. And he got paid well there, but I think he got paid beyond what he can expect in the long run. Still don't like the call with the King Jack there against the raise. Difficult when you get a pair of nines after just making a move with a sort of not a big hand and taking a pot down. If you bet them, people are often in the mind to call you or come back at you thinking that you've got weak values. And although nines are, on the face of it, reasonably strong hand, they're not the sort of hand that you want to face a lot of action with until you've caught your 9. So he has elected just to call. Scotty, I'm sure, will come in with a suited ace here on the button. Question is, does he call it, playing for value, or does he raise, looking to punish Cincinnati for limping in there? Wow, there's the trip 9s. Flush draw, though, for I Am a Fish, and he's got the gut shot working too with the 4. There, he's now got 12 outs. He's got a big old hand. Everyone else has missed. Queen changes nothing for anyone. And Cincinnati definitely time to bet this with 3 opponents. I put in 60 there. That's exactly what I've done. Looks like he's trying to buy it cheaply. I like the bet. Of course, I Am a Fish will be coming in. I think he'll just call. Yes, he does. Hey, quad 9s. Why couldn't it have been the 9 of spades? Well, because it was the first card out, that's why. But Cincinnati with quad 9s against a busted flush draw is not going to get paid. So onwards and upwards for him. 7 players, the blinds are now 20-40. Still plenty of play left in this tournament. And they're battling it out for the $40 first prize. A small stakes sit-and-go tournament. Oh, a loose call from Scotty. Very loose. I mean, Cincinnati has not been playing with junk. And certainly when he's bet on the flop, he's always had a hand so far. He's made the straight draw, and he's trying to bet on the back of his reputation there of betting when he's made it. I'll still bet bigger than that because it's just too easy to call 80 with some sort of weird hand. But he takes that down. But Scotty throwing away money there before the flop with that hand. And Cincinnati calls. It's got a nice good table image here of invincibility, and if you win in poker, it doesn't always matter how you win, provided you don't play terribly. You do acquire sometimes just an image of being difficult to beat. Doesn't matter whether it's to your credit or not, whether it's just short-term variance, but as long as you're aware that you have that image, then you can put in calls in early position and have a better chance of not being raised. And I think Cincinnati may be aware of that. So he's called with the sevens. He hasn't been raised. And on the flop there, he is ahead. Two players behind him, a 9 and a 10, two overcards to his sevens. He decides to check it. And having seen them all check round, I'm sure he's now wishing he bet it, because the king there is a problematic card. Again, now he can't bet because there's a good chance someone's paired that. We can see that the sevens there are still in the lead. It doesn't look like he's got the king there. I'm official. Looks like a weak bet, but Cincinnati decides if he doesn't raise here, if he just calls, then he may face another bet from I am a fish on the river. So he decides to keep things simple and let it go. He's got another pocket pair upon pair. In the big blind this time with a pair of fives. Scotty coming in with a weak ace again. Don't like it. I wonder if he'll raise. No, Cincinnati decides to take a look at a flop and checks it. I'm surprised he didn't bet there. Now he must bet. Surely he's got a pocket pair with a paired board. Scotty's shown every sign of weakness. Now he can check it on the river because there's no more cards for Scotty to outdraw him with. I'm a little surprised he didn't bet there. Another decent hand for our man there in seat 7. And Scotty is having a limpathon here. He's called under the gun with 10-7 suited, which is, or ought to be, a criminal offence. Tom's made a move with ace deuce, which I much prefer. Unfortunately, I think there's a danger. Cincinnati will call it. Yeah, bad timing from Tom. I like his raise there because he was punishing Scotty for his limp. And I think Tom did everything right there. But just on this occasion, through bad fortune, there's a player behind him with a big ace. Ace 10, Cincinnati probably would have put down. So I love Tom's bet. But unfortunately there, it comes to nothing. Cincinnati takes it with a pair of queens. But nicely played. Now, Tekka has been very quiet. If you've been quiet for a long time and you pick up aces and you bet and everyone folds, well, you might wish that you'd done a bit of betting in the earlier stages. But with ace-king, certainly it's not the end of the world if everyone folds. And he's got I am official limping in there. By just putting in 3 times the big blind, Tekka, facing one limper in the form of I am a fish, is expecting a call there. I think he's looking for a call. But he can't really be disappointed with a fold there. Now what's Longy going to do? 120 would be my bet of choice. 80 is a possibility. 80 is what he goes for. Oh, he's got the minimum raise. Scotty's decided to find out whether Longy is just putting in a steal. Now, does Longy just call here? I think a call is wise here because it basically conforms to... Nah, I hate that. Longy can call there and basically confirm Scotty's suspicions that Longy's just... Oh, he's got a call. He's just bluffing. I mean, against any normal player, I like a call, but a Longy's got paid by Scotty. I don't know whether it's because he knows something about Scotty or because he just decided that a raise there with the kings was the best move. I think on the whole it's not to move all in there because normally you'd let someone with queen-king get away from it, but Scotty did call him. So fair enough, fair enough. But certainly in a cash game or a multi-table tourney, or rather a single sit-and-go tourney where I'm playing against more normal players. I don't want to stick all my chips in there and let my opponent get away with it. Not with kings. Too strong. Maybe an ace will come. Even then he hasn't necessarily got it. So Scotty in trouble. And with 380 chips and blinds in 2040, this is not the time to be passive and be calling or fiddling about with small raises. Next time he gets a hand, he should stick it all in and look to increase his chip stack by 15% or so. Tekka taking a view here. Wow. Interesting play. Unfortunately, he's run into trips. I admire his gumption, but time to let it go, I think. Yeah, and he's given up the pot here. I think I'm a fish should check it here, just in case someone makes a move. And Tekka can let it go. Oh. Well. I think that was a strange move from Tekka. I mean, I'm a fish might have been bluffing, but there's absolutely no reason why he couldn't have had a piece of that flop. And with Tekka's final raise, I'm a fish was still getting quite attractive odds to make a loose call. Never mind a good, straightforward call with a big hand. So Tekka now all in. No bluffing, gentlemen. There's an all-in man. Yeah, I'm a fish comes in, has a look at it. There's the ace. Check or bet. Yeah, he decides just to shut out Matt. Oh, good fold from Matt, because I'm a fish could easily be having a pop at that flop with just 2 high cards, thinking that Tekka, who's all in before the flop, could have a random hand, or does have a random hand. So good fold from top straight Matt there. Here are the numbers. There you go. Writing on the wall. Scotty has played 2/3 of the hands he's been dealt, and that is just too many. And he's got himself into trouble.
Are you right there, Doc?
Yeah, how's your sit and go going?
All right.
Are you still in?
Mm-hmm.
Any great plays you've made you're dying to talk about in the next 40, 50 minutes?
Yeah, the first hand I played brilliantly.
Good. How's the table chat?
I'm trying not to talk to people.
Yeah, I don't talk too much because it
trying to
takes
concentrate.
mind off the game.
But I'm quite chatty.
Well, you're a girl, aren't you?
What does that mean? Men are chatty too.
Only when they're chatting people up. I mean, they're less inherently chatty than women. Straight draw? Not much of a straight draw, though, because when the 10 comes, if it comes, it doesn't look that safe when there's an 8, a 9 and a queen on the board. It doesn't arrive, so Longy there with a pair of queens is ahead. Does he dare bet it? Yeah, I quite like that bet. Might get paid by not much. But not on that occasion, not against a bust straight draw. Down to 5 players now then. And 2 off the money. But there's absolutely no way Scotty can sit around and hope to creep into the money. His opponents won't let him do that. He's going to have to get a double through quite soon. Wow, look at this. Longy going to get paid here. And Cincinnati has just checked his jack, and that's dangerous for him because he's obviously trying to trap check there. And he's going to read that as a bluff. He checked there, hoping to see Longy bet, deciding that a bet from Longy would be a bluff. I love Longy's dwell up here. I think it's great poker. And he's just pretending that he's not got much. And it's going to be difficult for Cincinnati to get away from this, because Longy could in fact be legitimately betting there with a worse jack. He could have jack 10, say, jack 8. Oh well, full house is great for Longy, because now he's completely invincible. And unfortunately, Cincinnati was the victim there of a rather unfortunate flop. He had his opponent dominated, but his opponent caught 2 pair, and there was really no way out for Cincinnati in that hand. And now on tilt, because that is just throwing your toys out of the cot. Fine to do it with a pair of aces. Someone might call you, assuming you're on tilt, but ace 10, no need for it. Hello. A creative sort of play there from Longy. Dangerous, because Cincinnati looks like he's not in the mood to fold or play touch and go sort of poker. And Longy has got a call from a worse hand and might well get pushed off it on the turn if Cincinnati decides to bet at him. No, he's decided just to try and draw cheaply to his flush, and that's Longy's denied him the option. But on the river, it is Cincinnati who's ahead. He's caught a 5. I hate the bet. What is he thinking of? He's just not going to get paid by a worse hand. I mean, by all means check and then call if your opponent bets at you. He might be bluffing. But it's just a terrible bet from Cincinnati there. I can't see any logic to that bet at all. Now Matt's been quite quiet. Blinds are now 40-80. He's picked up ace-king, and he's looking like he wants to play it for all his chips. Instead of shutting his opponents out with a big raise, he's called, hoping that he'll catch a hand and someone else will catch a reasonable but worse hand. It hasn't worked out like that, and he's going to have to let it go. Cincinnati, unfortunately, now heading for the shredder, and he's walked into trip sixes, and unfortunately he's precipitated an all-in move from Scotty, so we could well be in the money here. A 7 will change things. There it is. That's rather unfortunate for Longy. He's robbed. And Cincinnati's still in it with that miracle
I should be
river
watching
card.
this a bit more carefully with you, Tom, because I'm playing Cincinnati Kid as well.
Oh, well, I've been slagging off his play.
Have you?
Yeah, what does he say about me in the chat box?
He's been a bit quiet, he's concentrating.
Oh, okay. And that's interesting. Matt now moves all in with the queens, and quite right to do so, I think. Facing that bet from ace-king. He, of course, calls, and there it is. Absolutely nothing exceptional about this. Ace-king versus queens. It's a race, and ace-king will win almost half the time. So Matt's out, and he must be gutted, because the way that previous pot went, he deserved to be in the money, bar that miracle 7 on the river. So now we are 1 off the money, and we have a game, because Scotty and Cincinnati have both clawed their way back up. Blinds are still 40-80, so the short stacks have got more than 10 big blinds, and we do have a game here. They can, if they want to, even those short stacks, they can, if they want to, choose to play a quiet game looking to creep into third. It's a possibility, though by no means necessarily a wise option. And let's see if we see some different strategies emerging at this interesting bubble point in the game. Two players with the same hand, both players have missed. I'm a fish, having bet it, we'll take it. Good read there from him. Please don't call. No, he's called. 3 players take the flop. And they've all missed. I'm a fish checking to get information. And with any sort of draw, it wouldn't surprise me if you bet there. Scotty has called a 6. He's not sure if he's trapping there or not. He's decided not to bet it. He's not been outdrawn, and I think he should check this on the river. Whether he will or not is yet to be seen. In fact, Cincinnati has bet out there with the straight. Scotty's paid him. So Scotty back to where he was about 5 minutes ago, and he can move all in here. And that's just silly, because he's got jack high against 3 opponents. Someone's going to have a better overcard, and he's just giving them a reason to call by putting in that small bet there. Fortunate. Fortunate that no one had anything particularly big. Look at that. That is very interesting indeed. Cincinnati has folded his nines. Now either he's too busy playing the night nurse to bother with a pair of nines, or...
I don't think he's got much thinking to do while playing me.
Or he doesn't want to play that sort of hand around the bubble, which is an interesting and possibly justifiable play. Because if he gets action from someone, he's probably not going to make a 9. If he gets action from someone, they're probably going to have 2 overcards. And then he's in a race sort of situation, pretty much a coin flip. So it's an interesting fold. I'm not sure if I could make it. I might just look at the 9s and say, well, at this stage in the tournament, can I afford to put this hand down? But yeah, interesting to be thought about. Here we go. Now we're going to have a big, big conflagration. We've seen Kiss Goodbye to Scotty. So we're in the money. Longy, of course, with ace-queen suited, of course, with 3 players, is going to play this for all his chips. And I Am a Fish will get away from that now. And Cincinnati comes over the top, and it'll be called, because Cincinnati could well have ace-jack, ace-10. Certainly those are possibilities. And there's absolutely no way out for Cincinnati now with that turn card there on the 7. So Cincinnati doubles through. Well, I was dissing his play earlier, but he's now moved up to 2nd place, and we've got a bit of a game on our hands here. Quite a bit of play.
Is it all going okay?
At my end, well, they're all still in, the 3 players.
Wow.
How are you getting on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hanging in.
Okay, you're hanging out with your pals. Ace King Goot. Wow. Interesting. I'm a Fish now. Looks at that bet and thinks, are you just having a laugh with a cheap bluff? But he's not caught an ace, so he can get away from it now. And with a flop like that, I wonder if Longy dares check it. It is paired, which is normally a good sign for a pocket pair in your hand. I don't mind the bet either. It's just small enough to possibly prompt a big raise from someone who reckons it's a bluff. It's also just small enough to prompt a call from someone who's never going to make a hand, and that is exactly what's happened. I Am a Fish has put in the raise, so Longy's little bet there is very well judged, and now he's decided to spring the trap, and I Am a Fish with a pair of 6s is hoping Longy's drawing, but he ain't. And difficult situation now for I Am a Fish. He's hoping, of course, one of these players, Cincinnati, will be knocked out and he'll move into 2nd place. But realistically, he knows there's a good chance he's going to have to stick all his chips in, probably get a caller, and look to double through. There's the big blind. I think that's probably good for all his chips if anyone attacks him, because they will be attacking with all sorts of junk. On this occasion, they may well fold, knowing that they're likely to be called. So he gets a walk. Back where he was, in the big blind, with an iffy sort of hand. This one he can let go, because it is just queen high. But if it's a minimum bet, yeah, I think he's going to have to call this, and he's in danger here because he's sitting there with one of his cards dominated. He's missed, and that's fortunate, because Cincinnati might check this with such a big flop and give I'm a Fish a draw to the straight. But he doesn't. Cincinnati keeps it simple and takes the pot down. I'm a Fish now in the small blind. Probably just about good enough for a move. I do it. Yeah, he does it. Educated bees do it. There it is. 8's ahead, and an ace here will give the pot to I'm a Fish, but no ace. So the eights play. And he takes third prize. I'm a Fish takes down 16 bucks. 24 is what Longy and Cincinnati are guaranteed. But they're fighting out for the first prize of 40 greenbacks. Longy gets a walk. And that is good for a raise. Oh, I think Longy might well play this for all his chips, because when Cincinnati comes back at him, Longy may just decide that he's having his own raise, which looked quite weak, nicked off him. And yet, ace-5, not a strong hand to call against anyone. Yeah, he gives Cincinnati the benefit of the doubt, and on that occasion, I'm sure Longy didn't put Cincinnati on a hand that strong, but he was quite right to fold. Now, fair enough, why not? The opponent's probably only got one overcard at most. Might well catch an undercard, like a 5, but in fact Longy's got the flush draw. He may move here for all his chips. And I think with that's a clear semi-bluff opportunity. He's in trouble, but with the overcard and the flush draw and no guarantee his opponent has got any hand, I stick it all in there. I'm interested that he folded there, because I like semi-bluffing. I love to put in a semi-bluff, and that was an opportunity for me, and he made a great fold under the circumstances, but I think I'd have put the lot in. Truth be told, I wouldn't have been in bad shape with 12 outs either. Not that I was ever going to get a fold from my opponent.
I just made a mistake.
What did you do?
Folded hand, I should have pushed with.
You're not being results oriented, are you? Did you make 2 crummy pair or something?
No, I folded it and then everyone else folded and the big blind just got his blind back.
Oh, okay, you missed a chance.
Well, I could have pushed with it.
Yeah, but you don't know, Michelle. Next time they'll probably have aces, you know.
Probably.
We'll have a look at the playback. So blinds 163.20. This means that Longy has 10 big blinds. He's the shorter of the 2 stacks. And although, in theory, with 10 big blinds, you've got a bit of space, the truth is that in heads-up play, with the blinds coming around so fast, and your opponent not necessarily holding very much, there's a lot of reasons to bet. Domination once again. Longy takes it down, back and forth. And Cincinnati can raise or fold. Little point in calling with 8-3. I don't mind a raise. Yeah, he's gone for the cheap raise. And I doubt Longy will put that down. And the only way we'll get action here is if Cincinnati decides to lead out and represent a jack or a queen. He has. Now what? Yeah, Longy keeps things simple, and Cincinnati now can let it go. That is highly unlikely to be a bluff. And he correctly lets it go. So now the scales have tipped slightly. And Longy putting on the pressure with a suited king. Why not? Now, is he going to check and let Cincinnati bluff him? He's seen Cincinnati lead out with not much on the previous hand. That's an embarrassment of riches. And he's got the bet from Cincinnati. He's got the bet. And there's the raise. And of course, Cincinnati, after saving a bit of dignity with the dwell up there, lets his filth go. In it goes. We go straight to a showdown because there's absolutely no way either player will fold this. And there's the 9. Cincinnati comfortably going to double through here. Longy's still with the advantage. Not been knocked out yet.
No.
I think Longy will let it go. Ooh, he's decided to return the favour and start doing some betting with not much on his own account. And in it goes. Well, it's more or less all in. Longy's going to have a look at the pot odds. And he faces a difficult decision here because he knows he's probably got 2 live cards, but I think correct to fold there. He was only getting 3-1 and highly unlikely to be ahead. So a coin flip at best. in terms of pot odds. Time to bet, put the pressure on, definitely. Personally, I might as well move all in there. Otherwise you face a difficult decision on the flop. It would take an inspired bluff to push Longy off this. I don't think Cincinnati can. Longy's got the straight draw. Blinds 326.40, absolutely huge. Why not? Queen high is good for me, it's good for Cincinnati, and he'll be delighted to see a fold there. And you see here, we're close to parity now, it will go to a showdown. 1,000 in the pot. I don't know why Longy is calling. He really doesn't want to take a flop. And I'm surprised Cincinnati's checking there. He would normally have given his opponent a chance to get away from it on the flop. Fortunately, with the deuce there in Longy's hand, Cincinnati probably will get a call. And he's looking fairly safe. They're still doing a bit of fencing, bizarrely, there on the turn, given how big the blinds are. Cincinnati's all in, and Longy's doubled him up. And this has been a heck of a heads-up battle. And Cincinnati doesn't put the pressure on. He knows Longy's going to call. And Cincinnati's praying here for a hand to call with. Longy raises here, he might take it, but he doesn't. And Cincinnati's delighted to get a walk. And surely now both players will play for all their chips here. They've both got a high card. And there's already so much in the pot. I can't fold a queen there, no way. I'm surprised Longy put that down. He was probably getting odds to draw even if he could see his opponent's cards. Just remember your opponent will move there with Jack 8, Jack 9 quite happily, so with the queen in your hand you've really got a call. Blinds have gone up to 640, 1280, and amazingly 4-6 is ahead in this coup. And not only ahead, but with 2 overcards to Cincinnati's. Well, look at that. There's the straight for Cincinnati up against 2 pair, and the straight takes it. Lovely jubbly. Well, he's the man who I was dissing at the start of the show there, Cincinnati. I didn't like his play early on, but he showed me wrong. I've got egg all over my face. He wins it. Michelle, the night nurse, is still battling away here.
The blinds
down to
are huge.
6 players. The
They've just
blinds
gone
are
up.
huge. She's gone all in.
Well, I had no choice, because look how big the
She
blinds
has
are.
no choice. Look how big the blinds
I didn't
are.
realise that had happened so quickly.
What's going to happen? Well,
I'm not
while
gonna
we're waiting
show
to
any-
see if
any
Michelle
facial expressions at all.
gets knocked out on this incredible holding, we're going to have a look at a quick reminder of how to get in touch with myself and Michelle on the show. Have you doubled through, Michelle, by any chance?
Sorry, that was a bit fluky.
There it is, 84222 to post your bad beat stories to Michelle.
You love it when you fluke.
And email the expert, who at the moment is Michelle. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Marvellous. Well, Michelle's still in, so I'm stuck in this duff commentating job. So I'm going to take you all now down to the multi-table tourney and see how they're getting on down there.
I can't believe how big those blinds are. They're huge.
Have you got piles
Piles?
of chips?
No.
Oh. 12 players left in tonight's super value $1,000 added $20 multi-table
supper.
tourney.
Big blind stealer.
And we've got Poker Ron there, who's our chip leader. Mr. Perfect, seen him play a few MTTs. And Hacksman is a small stack. He's got nothing currently, but looking to double through here, which he does. Small stack no longer. Bit of a reprieve. Blinds aren't small here either. Mr. Perfect with 8 big blinds. Altrev with 9. Anyone fancy a pop at this one? Well, let us see. Just a mini raise. Yeah, difficult with ace-4. It's a terrible hand to call with. But on the other hand, you don't like to be exploited there. So raise or fold, I think, is possibly an option, and he goes for the fold.
Yay, I'm winning. Oh, I can't say anything.
You chip leader?
I forgot. Yeah, with these blinds, it's like... I won't say anything because we're going to watch it soon.
Oh, Blagger might just flat calling there with the ace-jack. Interesting. Perhaps feels that if he puts in a substantial bet and gets raised, he might get sucked into the pot. He's got the jack. Yeah, why not bet it? Takes it down. Whoa! Aces versus queens. Well, I think Mr. Perfect's looking through a double through here. We were talking about aces earlier, and against the queens, Mr. Perfect will win around about 7 times in 9. And this is surely going to be a case where the queens go all in. Flop is now looking very healthy. 4% is the chance of how not to of putting a queen. And that's exactly what he does. What a lucky so-and-so. Oh well, he did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong because when the chips went in, he had every reason to suppose he was ahead with his queens. And he's perfectly entitled to an outdraw. Aces against each other in the blinds could have some action here. 900 in the pot. Blagger might make a stand. There's now 1800. Does he want to play it for all his chips? He doesn't want to dip his toe into the water and take it out and waste money. He's decided just to call. Both have missed. So it's up to someone to take it with a bet. Who dares? A paired board, it's that much less likely that your opponent has called anything. And he can fold here or make a play. But a call is a bit daft. He folds. Fair enough, fair enough. He didn't know where he was. Lovely. Well, we'll be coming back to that multi-table tourney later and catching its thrilling finale. There's a thrilling mid-game going on to my right here. Yes. With Michelle making some new friends in the chat box. I'm going to have a look at a couple of emails while she's enjoying herself. Got one here from Gary. It's from Gary in Merseyside. He says, Dr. Tom, please help. I've been playing online for about a year and I am currently slightly better than breaking even. Well, then you're doing very well. My problem is that I've lost a lot of tourneys lately with what I consider bad breaks and calls by bad cards. King 3, Jack 7, etc. I play a tight aggressive game, but I've gone into my shell lately and only want to get involved with the nuts. Is this common? And more importantly, what's the best way to get rid of my self-imposed shackles? I can't believe you pulled off that outdraw, Michelle.
What? No, I was ahead pre-flop. Shut up.
Well, Gary, ignore the abuse I'm getting from my rights. I would say, you know if you play a hand well. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens. When the chips go in, if you're ahead, you're ahead. So, and you're going to face this sort of thing all the time. You're often in poker not going to get your just desserts. You know, sometimes you'll make a great move and get unlucky. Sometimes you'll make a terrible move and get lucky. So there you go.
Oi, what are you looking at me for?
You've just got to... How can you see me beyond that fringe? You've just got to basically have, for want of a better word, the emotional maturity to cope with this, because it's going to happen not only in poker but in life also. So, and in the end, if you're going to be a winning poker player, never mind a professional poker player, you've just got to cope with these sorts of outdraws. So get out of your shell and get back into the game. Now, let's have a quick look at one more email before we take a break. It's from Bald. I'm afraid I can't help you with your follicle questions. He says, Hi, Dr. Tom and Michelle. Tom, I've heard you refer to live cards. Please, could you explain this terminology to me, oh great doctor of baboonology? He does actually say that. Live cards, Bald, are cards that you hold in your hand and no one else has. So they're relatively richly represented in the deck. What you don't want is dead cards, where other people have got all the cards you're hoping to catch.
How unfair is that?
Michelle's moaning about her bad luck. We're going to take a break, but after that, we will see whether she played well or just got lucky.
Good evening and welcome back to the wonderful, beautiful, very, very fair game that is poker. Poker, Texas Hold'em, no limit. That's what we're watching tonight. And we're going to watch some, aren't we, as well, Dr. Tom?
Is it going to be fair?
I think it's fair enough.
Okay.
This is Dr. Tom, our expert for the evening.
Thank you for the introduction.
Very well done for the last hour. I know you were a bit on your own there.
Well, thank you.
But we're going to go straight to my tournament. With a dodgy first hand, but it's fair enough.
Okay. Talk us through it, Michelle.
I will do.
Were you nervous?
No. But I'm in a $30, so we've all paid $30 and we've got 2,000 chips. And I think the blind structure's a bit slower than usual.
It is.
So it's every 12 minutes. And I didn't know this when I started, so I was playing the same as I would in the quick games that we usually play. But I don't think it really made much difference, to be fair, because I found out about halfway through that it was longer. Well, after the first few blinds, I realised obviously it was a longer game. So we have to see 6, 7 I've gone. There I am in seat 2, because Cincinnati Kid nabbed seat 1. You've got, let's say a quick shout out. We've got Cincinnati Kid, and then me, and then Hoofy. So I'm going to be stealing his blinds. And then Buffy Be Good, and QPW, and Skitsy, and Ghost Zapper, and Name Exists. So I've got a pair of 3s. And I'm thinking I'm going to have a limp, because I'm in mid-position. See if we can get in, see the flop for nothing, and maybe I'll hit a 3. Is what I'm thinking. I think I do.
Look at the respect you're getting, Michelle. No one's raising you.
Oh, because they know that I'm trying to limp. Don't raise me when I'm trying to limp. I'm a lady. So anyway, he checks. I'm thinking, do I want to bet? And I think there's 2 people yet to play behind me. It's quite easy, because they all limped, that they could have any one of those cards. So I thought I would just check and see if I can get another free card. Which I do. Oh, I'm glad I didn't bet, because I really nearly did. Because Ghost Zapper checks again. And I was thinking, should I put in a bet? But then I thought, it's still only 3s, maybe someone's playing tricky. I won't. I'll leave it and try and get myself another free card, although I highly doubt I'll get another card, because I'm sure one of these in later position will go for the bet. Which you did, but you had the goods, so fair enough. Gut shot for Buffy Be Good. So that was how I thought about that hand.
And what do you know about these players, Michelle? Oh, you've got aces.
Look, I've got aces. This is the hand. Right, can I just say that usually at home, in the tournaments I play, I keep forgetting these are the TV tables, it's very tight. At home, generally, in the first few hands, people will go mental. And if they have like top pair or something, they'll go mental. Or a draw. At the beginning stages, they think they can push people off. And that's kind of how they play when I'm playing in my tournaments at home. So bearing that in mind when I'm playing this hand, obviously he's hit 2 pair, which I didn't know. I'm thinking I'm good, there's no flush, there could be a straight draw. I'm thinking I don't want to give him the straight draw, but I believe somebody would get jiggy with me on the straight draw at this time, trying to take it off me. Now, on this table, that's not going to happen, and I should have remembered that.
No, you can't put down aces again. You can't be scared of 2 pair. Otherwise,
Well, exactly.
you go through your life terrified.
So I thought, on this table, he's probably, because he's put himself, obviously we end up all in, because he's put himself all in, I think, he's having, on my tables at home that I play on, somebody would do that with a draw to a straight, because that's what they do, especially in the early stages. So I was always going to end up all in. And all of you lot might have been telling me it was a bad play, but, I knew what I was doing. Look, Dr. Tom thinks I did the right thing.
You can't put the down, because it could be ace queen, it could be any number of things. I mean, Skitsy, I think, is the one who can more justifiably lay it down, because it looks like you're playing either a big pair or queen ace. Of course, with 2 pair, he can't put it down. But I mean, if he's got something like ace queen or king queen, he can.
So I just thought, oh, whatever, I'm just going to go in. I'm not putting this down now. And there's the argument that you don't need to be all in the early stages, which is an argument I go by. I'm quite happy to put hands down. But I really didn't put him on anything. I thought we had top pair. I thought he was trying to push me off, because I can be pushed off, and these players know that. Because I do usually respect a big raise or whatever. So anyway, I was like, damn it! And then I got...
Split pot.
It's a split pot, but I couldn't really work out why.
Because there's a straight on the board.
Oh, right,
8 to the
there you go,
queen.
yeah. So I got a bit lucky. But, that's fair enough. Aces. I should have got lucky.
Yeah, you had outs on the turn. You got a king there for the
Straight.
straight.
Another ace.
You must have been disappointed just to split it, Michelle.
I was hoping to take it down.
Yeah, you were robbed.
Anyway, then I get an ace 10, so I think, well, I'm going to raise it again. But I didn't look, I limped. I am under the gun, I suppose. But should I have raised there? I should have really, shouldn't I, an ace 10 maybe?
Well, I think under the gun, generally, it's wise to raise or fold full stop.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't. I think it's because I've just done such a huge hand. I thought maybe they'd put me tilting or something and they'll call me anyway.
Fair enough. Then I'd probably fold.
Yeah, rather than limp. Yeah, I went anyway, so it cost me 20. So yeah, probably a fold. Or like you say, a raise under the gun. Is that good general rules?
No, it's not necessarily true, but the trouble is when you limp under the gun, I think you should first of all ask yourself, if someone raises, will I fold? And if the answer is yes, and then you ask yourself, does my limp look like I'm prepared to surrender to a raise? And if the answer is yes, then probably somebody will raise to you and probably you will fold, so you're throwing your money away.
Okay. QP having a little bit of a break.
So I was asking if you knew anything about these players when you sat down.
Not particularly. Hoofy's quite solid. I heard you saying Cincinnati Kid was being quite solid.
No, I wasn't. I was saying he's playing
I'm
terribly.
sure you said that though at one point. Yeah.
No, I said at the end when he won it. I said, I've always liked that kid.
I don't know loads about the others. I haven't come across Ghost Zapper before, or Skitsy. I know QPW a little bit. I know Buffy Be Good a little bit. But I'm rubbish. I'm rubbish because I'm always chatting, and I shouldn't. And James keeps telling me off. I do need to concentrate more. But so many people are talking to me, and I feel rude if I don't talk back.
I know what you mean,
I'm a polite person.
You've got to be rude because you know they're deliberately. They've probably got chat bots that they've put into action to chat to you.
Yeah, so that I'm not concentrating.
Maybe you should get a chat bot. Or maybe you should chat and get a poker bot.
Yeah, maybe.
Limping there from Buffy. It's fair enough if you're in a very passive game, but again, it's begging to be raised. Looks like he'll get away with this one.
4-7. Do you know what? What was it? Oh,
well,
I thought I'd put in 10. I thought, you know, it's only 10 chips. So I'll have a look. You never know.
Justify yourself to me.
I might get 4-7. And do you know what? I thought if I get the club, I'm not going to bet. I thought I'm not going to get involved in a flush draw with these terrible cards. And which was a good thing because look, Buffy had 9-10. I mean, it didn't come anyway, but I'd already decided. I thought I'm not going on the flush draw here because I'm going to get into trouble. I don't know, I really worry about these flushes when I've got flush and if I've got low cards. It's terrible.
Yeah, you should worry, because a significant proportion of the time, when you make it, you will be bitten by a big flush.
Really? Is that true?
Well, significant in terms of the dent that it does to... I mean, people say, well, when you play with these flush cards, you know, normally you lose, but sometimes you win big. It's true, but some of the times that you make the flush, you lose even bigger, because of course you make the flush, you're married to it, yeah, and that massively dents. So bear in mind.
And it's generally when you're on the blinds and you get through and you hit your flush with rubbish cards and you're thinking,
yeah.
Look at that, trip aces for Buffy Be Good. Ten Queen King Ace, so he's got gut shocked. Not getting odds to call though, is he?
Not even close. And quite a big bet there from Buffy.
Look, I've got an ace queen. And look, all the other aces are out.
Let's see what the chip nurse does with ace queen off suits in the cutoff.
Cut-off position, one before the dealer button.
Do you remember what you do?
Raised. I'm always going to raise there. I want to take it there and then. I'm quite happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? I generally am happy when I don't get called when I make a raise. I'm generally quite happy. My mentality is I'm quite happy to take it then and there, because I'm quite happy to take any chips I can, unless I've got a great hand and I want to get called. But generally pre-flop, I'm not bothered. I mean, with aces, fair enough, I want to get called, and even kings maybe, then I'm going to be worried about an ace if I've raised and someone's called and an ace comes out on the board. I'm more happy to get called when I'm looking at a board and I think I'm ahead.
Yeah,
That's
because
when I'm more happy to
you're
get
further
called.
ahead. Wow, nice flop for Hoofy.
QP with the flush draw.
And danger here for Hoofy because he might let QP draw cheaply. I wouldn't begrudge him a flat call. He's decided to keep it simple and make QP pay. Yeah, and QP reckons he's got a lot of outs if he is behind. Unfortunately, 2 of his spades are in Hoofy's hand.
Didn't come. Poor old QPW. What did you think about that play there?
Who's?
QP's.
I'm trying to think what pot odds Hoofy was facing when QP put in his final raise. I mean, if you're going to make that play with the ace-king and the draw, there's got to be some sort of chance your opponent will fold. Because if he's never going to fold, then he's calling with a better hand and you're behind. I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest. Oh well, he's tripled through. Queen 10 again, this time for QP. And he's not stealing, he's all in, knowing he's going to get called. Got a bit of work to do. Well, he's got the up and down now.
7, 8, 9. 10 for QP. He's back to 100. I've got an ace-king.
So you have. What are you going to do with it?
Do you know what, though? At this point, I'm thinking, no, this isn't good, because I have a little theory. If I don't have any cards at the beginning of the tournament, it generally means they'll come at the end, which is when I want them more, and I win more. But if I get all the cards early on, it means I'm going to get nothing at the end, and I'm going to lose. So at the moment, I'm thinking, no, don't come now. Come a bit later when I need you.
Well, that's the sort of superstition that we're desperate to stamp out here on Poker Night Live. And here's you admitting to it.
I can't help it. So look, I took QP out anyway. Oh, sorry. I'm not. So look, I've got gained 65 chips.
Mm-hmm.
Big raise with the ace-8. I'm thinking, shall I re-raise with my queen 2?
I don't believe you're thinking that.
No, I was being sarcastic. King 10. What do you think of King 10?
Terrible hand. Absolute
Terrible.
pish. King 10 off, even worse.
Good stealing hand, though, maybe? Sometime? Well, not a good stealing hand, but a hand you might want to steal with. If you're on the button.
It's pretty low down. Of all the court cards, all the cards with paint on, including an ace, that's my least favourite. I'll take ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, ace king, queen jack, queen 10, queen ace. All right, but I'll take, over king 10, I'll take queen jack, say.
Yeah.
Or queen 10.
I see a lot of people play King 10.
Yeah, it's because it's got paint on it, but they're terrible cards.
So a free little ride there for Buffy would be good.
So Hoofy's got himself doubled up there.
Yeah, he has.
With that spade.
I think Balrog, I think it was Balrog, kept saying at the beginning that he had his money on Hoofy. And he kept saying, I think he was after some applause from Balrog for picking Hoofy. And it's like, Balrog, the only reason you've picked Hoofy to win is because at the moment he's doubled up. But does he win?
Well, you know,
I
Michelle.
know. Oh, ace queen again.
Same bet?
Yeah, but I'm not really making any money out of them all. I put the same bet in again because I'm not.
But a minute ago you were saying you don't want to call her and you're delighted just to take the money.
Yeah, but still, you'd think with all these good hands, ace kings, ace queens, aces, I would have made some money already, and I've only made 45
Well,
chips.
quit your greeting. You're still in the comp.
That's why I don't like him early on. And then I get called and he hits his jack.
So unfair.
How is that fair? And he checks. Look at you check. So that I put in a little 160 and the little checker-wrecker re-raises me and I can't call.
I think I would have to say, impartially speaking, that Ghost Sapper's played it exceptionally well.
Well, he has, but I was in the chat box going, oi, Teely, oi, cheeser, check raiser. And he did say sorry. So that cost me 160 chips. What's that all about, Mr. Zapper? But then I get the kings. So I think, wow, excellent. Come on, Ghost Zapper, raise me up this time.
Mm-hmm.
So I can have my chips back.
So do you flat call or do you bet here?
No, I'm still not going to flat call, to be honest. I think I'm always going to raise. But should I be flat calling with these hands? Pre-flop at any time?
You need a really good reason to flat call. The basic default setting should be to bet because you've got a good hand.
Yeah, and I've been betting a lot because I've had good hands. So I've been thinking these guys are going to be calling me soon. So
Fair
I may
enough.
as well bet.
Yeah, but they all folded me, Michelle.
But they all folded and I didn't get anything.
Flat
and then
call
I get
it, you
ace king
daft
again.
cow.
You can't call me a daft cow
Sorry.
on live TV.
I apologise.
Look,
I mean,
then I
honestly,
get ace king.
You're so lucky, all these good cards you're getting.
So I raised it again.
And you got ace queen up against you.
So I did give it a bit of a raise. And I'm thinking that they must be thinking I'm so loose at the moment because I've been playing so many hands and raising so many times pre-flop, although I haven't even won anything yet.
I think you're unlucky you didn't get raised by Buffy there.
Oh, I wonder what happened here. I can't remember what I did. I might get pushed off.
There's nothing you can do about it now. Michelle, leave the mouse alone.
I think he does a cheeky bet. He does.
He does, yeah.
I mean, he is ahead, to be fair, so...
He's here and he's read you correctly. I think you're going to fold, aren't you, Michelle?
Yeah, I hope. Re-raise from the ace high. I folded.
It would probably work, actually. You could probably push him off it, but...
Well, if he had checked, I would have gone for the bet with the ace king, and because it was me that raised pre-flop, I definitely would have gone for a bet, and I probably would have made it quite expensive to show that I really did, I had an overpair or something, and then he could have easily then maybe done something wonderful and took even more money, so I'm quite glad he bet out, really. I mean, I may have been able to push him off if he'd checked and then I'd bet, but...
Yeah. But best hand took it, though. Name exists has been pretty quiet. Well, there is the raise.
He can have my 40. I'll let him. This time. It's wonderful to be able to see the play after you've been in it.
Mm.
You learn so much.
Buffy with the flush draw. Be rude not to bet it, I think. 60 or 70, maybe even 100, up to 100. No more. No point over betting a pot when your opponent might be trapping.
Takes it down. Look, ace king again. Yeah, for some reason I still haven't got any chips. What's happening?
You know, the deck is doing its best for you, Michelle. It's giving you lots of cards.
So I'm starting to think, should I start to limp? I thought, no, I'm still going to bet it. I overbet that by mistake because it's glass surface with mouse. It's quite difficult sometimes with the slider.
Oh, right. Okay. Wasn't you were chatting furiously in the chat box?
Would you call a raise here with King Jack on the button?
Nope.
Okay.
Would you?
Nope. Don't like King Jack. Because even if I hit the king or the jack, I'm still worried and can get pushed off.
Mm-hmm. And if you flop a straight, you're worried that your dog might die. I mean, it's just full of worry, that hand.
for all you know, my dog may have died, and you've just could have really upset me. He hasn't. He's fine. Toby, my little Cocker Spaniel. He's the most beautiful dog. He has the best personality. He's lovely. I'll show you a picture in the break.
Okay. But these sixes, Chip Nurse?
Well, I'm not in good position, so I think I limped, hoping to get a free little look at the flop. I know it's a lot to ask with so many people to act behind me, but...
I don't think you've been pushed off a limp yet, have you, so far in this game?
You mean?
No one's raised you.
Once, I think. Only once so far. I've got position now, which is nice.
Hmm.
I can't remember what I did. I don't think I got involved with an underpair.
I think you're going to check it.
Yeah, and it's terrible, because I had position. I had to really get there, because I thought, look, I've got a position. Usually I'd take a stab at this. But with the pot being 320, I was thinking if I'm going to make a stab on it, I've got to be betting the pot, and that's a lot of money with an underpair. I mean, it did feel a bit limpy, and it did feel like everybody had missed. But I just thought, I don't need to do that just yet. I've limped in, I haven't hit the 6 I wanted. I don't know, maybe, I mean, I had the position, I could have easily bet it.
Yeah, but you got 3 opponents, you know, I mean...
And that's another thing it says in the book that I'm reading, the
what book
Theory
is
of
that?
Poker.
Ah, right.
He says in there, you know, with 3 opponents, even if you're going to be trying to take a pot with a hand you don't think is ahead, then it should be against. It shouldn't be against like a big
field.
A big field.
No, it's true because you've got to get them all to fold.
And it also says it goes on about giving yourself a free card as well, and taking a free card and giving somebody else a free card type thing. It's all very confusing.
That's right. If you bet there and someone raises you, then you throw your hand away and you don't get a chance to see a free card. Whereas in last position, although as you say you're in position so you can
Take
bluff.
a stab at it because then I was already being check raised earlier, so I'm a little bit worried about people having something in.
If you check
Trying
it
to
on
get
the
into
river,
bet.
if you check it on the flop in position, then you see the turn card automatically,
Yeah.
and that's something that you're forsaking by putting in a bet.
Look at that cheeky cheeker with the 5-7. Didn't let go supper nick his blind.
Very nice. Nice bet, Cincinnati.
Takes some balls to do though, doesn't it? Re-raise a blind stealer when you've got nothing.
Yeah, it does. Certainly does.
Oh, Skitsy showed us these 3s. He was like, ha, I took your blinds with 3s.
Maybe he was proud of his hand. Now you're in the small blind. Are you gearing yourself up to get involved in a confrontation here with the King 9?
No, I think I've already pressed the fold button.
I mean, Hoofy, pretty tight player.
Do you know why? Because I'm getting involved with the only, or one of the only, well, I'm getting involved with the biggest stack. He can easily take me out, so do I want to? Do I need to?
But if you're going to attack someone, it's got to be Hoofy, isn't it? Because he's tight.
Yeah, that is true. I'm glad I didn't, because he had ace-king.
Yeah.
See, that's where you shouldn't just automatically press the fold button, because you should wait until it comes to you and then make your decision when you're in that position, shouldn't you, really? Because you could easily have a stab at it.
Well, if I'm going to fold, come what may, I don't mind using that button. But if I'm thinking of making a situational raise, I'm only going to raise if it's folded round to me in the small blind, and then someone decides to call, I quickly race to press the button that says fold automatically to imply to the people who are paying attention that my plays are not based on my cards, that my plays are based on my cards and not based on the situation. It's getting a bit technical, but basically I want people to think that I always play good cards and always fold bad cards, and it's got nothing to do with my position. So if I'm thinking of making a situational raise in the small blind and then someone calls, meaning I can't make that raise, I quickly race to press the fold button, so it looks like I haven't been waiting to see what someone does before folding.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you, Mr. Psychological.
Well, you know, it is a game of psychology.
You with a pair of fives.
Queen, king and the cut-off. Well, I think you've got to let it go, haven't you? Yes, he does so. So the blind's now 40-80, Michelle. How are you feeling? Down to 1,500 despite lots of good cards?
I put in a chat box that I'm losing. I'm not happy. I'm losing. Can you all give me some chips, please? Because I am on the telly.
Uh-huh.
And then I put, can you let me win because Dr. Tom hasn't been here for ages, so it's only fair.
And how did that go down?
They all told me to shut up.
Yeah.
I really thought about calling this. Or I think this is the one that I thought for ages. And I really wasn't sure what to do. And the reason I put it down in the end was position.
Yours or his?
Mine. I thought, he's got position on me. I'm still not going to know where I am when the clock comes out unless I hit my flush.
He's raised under the gun. I mean, you've got to give him.
And with Hoofy
respect.
raising under the gun, I thought, I know he's got big hand. But I think because I saw two hearts, I thought it looked very pretty. And I got a bit excited for a moment.
You felt a hot flush of hearts.
I did.
Well, you've still got plenty of chips relative to the
I think it was
blinds.
only because I was low and I'm thinking, oh, I need to do something. So I'm losing out of everybody. And I stopped chatting when I realised I was the lowest as well and thought, right, I need to concentrate now and try and get some chips back. And everyone was like, where are you? Where have you stopped chatting? And I thought, see, they're trying to coerce me back into chatting so that I'll lose.
That's their evil plan.
It's an evil plan.
They don't care about what you say.
Evil. See, these people do such wonderful things with middle pairs, and I'm so rubbish with them. I'm so scared of middle pairs. I need to work on that.
There's no shame in it. I mean, if you're scared of a hand like ace-king, it will get you into trouble for want of a raise when you should have put one in. But if you're scared of middle pairs and you just play them always for implied odds, looking to make trips, there's only so much damage you can do to yourself.
Yeah, I suppose. King 10.
Ah, you were asking my opinion about this earlier. Was this because you now make a brilliant fold with it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Wow, look at Hoofy. I just called him tight, and look what he's done. Well, Name Exists has been very quiet, and Hoofy decides to attack the big blind, and he must be delighted with the presumably inevitable fold there.
Yeah, took down
Nice play.
240.
Also, of course, I'm always banging on about how tight he is, and he knows that his image is in danger of being basically in line with his real play. So by putting in a few bets with 3-2, see if he does it again.
Helped me recently with my games. I mean, watching the Beat the Presenters has really helped. But I made a big list which I printed out and put up on my computer. Things like things to remember while playing a tournament. What did they do pre-flop? Just like little pointers, like what did they do pre-flop? What have they been up to? What type of player are they? Are they desperate? What position are they in? Blah, 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 and all these little pointers. And then at the bottom, pointers for myself. Do you need to call? Do you need to play? Who are you up against? And all these pointers. Because I kept thinking that I was forgetting to take stuff into consideration when I was playing, and it was getting me into trouble. Mm-hmm. And since I had that there, and I had it right next to my computer in really big font, and I'm really thinking about it now, all of these things, because I kept looking at it while I was playing. It's really registered in my head. So anyone out there, if you're new to playing and you're struggling to remember all the points you need to remember, please do it, because it really does work. Even in that game, I found myself considering all these things, which I never used to, because I kept referring back to my sheet. So definitely do that if you're new. Make yourself a little pointer sheet because it really helps. Do you have a pointer sheet, Dr. Tom?
No, I don't.
Is it all up there in your brain now?
Well, it's not all there all at one go all the time, but things drop in and out.
That's good.
Oh, look at this. Skitsy with the kings. Cincinnati with the ace-king suited. Suited and booted. Skitsy's about 2-1 favourite here before the flop. No one else has much of a look in with their hands. And I imagine Cincinnati will come back for possibly all his chips here. Yes, he has.
Which Skitsy likes.
He does. Puts in a bit of a slow roll.
But he's got to be thinking, oh, what's he got? Because it is a little bit daunting. Could be sitting there with the aces. But then that's the only thing that's beating him, so it's only one hand.
Skitsy takes out Cincinnati.
With the old ace-king. And then I've got it. Yay.
Hey, blind's now 326-40 and there's still 6 players in.
But I went all in. Was that too much?
No, it's the right thing to do. 1,000 in the middle. Definitely more.
So now I'm happy because I'm winning. Oh no, I'm not. Ghost Zappers has got me. I'm second though. I made a couple of interesting decisions actually in a minute. It'd be interesting to see what you think.
Oh my word,
Look
Ghost
at
Zappers
that.
flop the straight.
10, Jack, King, Queen, Ace. So that's what we were talking about with the King 10, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Flop in the straight. The name exists has gone.
Wonder if his dog died.
No. It may be this one. It is. It's this one. I was planning to push here because I'm on the big blind. I thought someone's going to go for it, so I'm going to push. I thought Buffy begins all in anyway, so I thought excellent. That's 735. But then Skitsy did this, and then Ghost Zappers did this. So now I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. I don't actually need to call this anymore. Because we've got two people, one person's all in, the other person's called, someone's gone all in, I can now get away from it, and that's the correct thing to do, was it?
Yeah, Ghost Zapper's got a better hand than ace-5 to raise there. When someone's all in, he can't be bluffing.
Yeah.
You're definitely right to fold. It's fortunate for you that you got the information there that you needed to get away from it.
Yeah, definitely. If it would have been the other way round, if me and Zapper were sitting the other way around,
Yeah.
I would have been in dire straits there.
Yeah.
Because I may have tried to go for it. So there's 4 of us left. I don't know why I sounded northern when I said that. There's 4 of us left.
And you're going to play this for all your chips if it's folded to you? Ah,
Well, again, I thought about this, but I thought... Oh, I can't remember what I did. No, I think I folded. I thought...
I'd fold.
I can't remember what I did. I think I actually call. I can't remember. But I was thinking about it because I really didn't know what to do.
I would certainly fold there.
I think I did. No, I did call.
Good
But
call.
I hit 3, I hit trips. Do you know what I thought, though? I thought I'm on the button. He's making a move. I'm not the button. I'm on the bubble. I don't know what I thought. I just called it.
I'm just going to call that bluff.
I really thought about it. Do you know, I actually didn't know what to do. But because he went all in, I thought people are going all in with lots of different types of hands here. I could easily be ahead with ace-8 suited.
Last night I went out with ace-9, but I was in very deep. I had about a third of my chips in. But there I'd have folded. I mean, I'd been wrong to have folded, but I would have folded for sure.
Okay. But I'm a bit happy now because I'm winning. I think I did my dancing vision at that point. So I'm in the money! Yay! So I'm gone with my 7-8. I can have my blind. Got his 10. Ghost gets his heart, and guess who's in the heads up? That would be me.
Amazing, there was still 3 players left there with the blinds at 6,
That
40,
much,
12, 80.
yeah. To be honest, I don't think I played heads up very well because we were going to a break and I needed it to be over, so I just kept going all in.
Yeah, no, you're right to ace 9. Completely right to do that.
I know there was play, to be honest, there's not much play left at 12.80, and I figured there's no point in me getting cheesy and trying to see a flop. I may as well just keep going for it and hoping to, you know...
Make a full house.
Just like I just did. And then someone said that's a bad call, that was a bad play. And I thought, why? I was ahead pre-flop.
Yeah, you raised.
And they come back saying, no, you weren't. I was like, I was. He had queen something. So look, I've got 9,000, and I'm thinking I'm going to win. Got this in the bag.
Oh, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I know is never good. But I thought, well, I need one good hand and for him to call, and I'll be there. So A7, it went all in.
I don't blame you. I'd stick it all in. 2,000 in the middle. No questions asked, and it goes.
I can't remember what it does.
He's folded, yeah.
Folds.
Because last time you faced an all-in bet, you had the ace.
Folded.
Glad to hear it.
I think we were just going to a break while I was doing this.
This is marginal. But yeah.
All in.
No, I can also push there, Michelle. It's a bit marginal, but I can push. I can push. Yeah, I think you're quite right too. And you fold.
3-5 makes it an
presumably.
easy fold.
It's not the most subtle of heads-up games.
It's
really,
not, it's, we just both kept going all in.
taking turns to hit each other with a baseball bat.
And look how unfortunate is this.
Yeah, that's unlucky.
I went all in, of course he called.
Looking for a split though. Often you'll split this key, but not this time.
No, so that was unfortunate, but well, there was nothing I could do there.
No.
And then I'm all in the next hand, whatever. I'm too short on chips now, not just to play. Because look, I've got 1,000 left. I thought it's the suited cards, I had to go.
You're right. You have to go there.
So I just went all in and thought, well, come on, let's have a look.
Come on, if you think you're hard enough. Look, you got a gut shot. You got a gut shot still?
Yep.
How could you play it like that? You well played, Michelle. No, you played a great game.
Yeah, you think that was all right?
Yeah, done nothing wrong. Girl done well. Second place.
Second place. Where did you come yesterday?
Sixth.
Sixth place. Should we do some emails?
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Got an email from Illy, which I don't think I'm going to read out actually.
Why not? Is it abusive?
Yeah, he reckons. And actually, Illy, you don't understand how abusive this is to me because my friends take the mick out of me and they say that I gurn and I don't, and it's a joke. And then Illy's texting saying, "Hi Michelle and Doc. You know the film Hunchback of Notre Dame? It starts with the locals having a gurning contest. Put a deck of cards in front of Michelle and she'd win hands down. Don't gurn. Don't gurn. Do I?
When
Do
you
I
play
gurn?
poker, you gurn.
Do I?
Oh, you're the
Like
biggest
that?
gurner. No, it's more
Is that
about...
gurning? Is that gurning? I thought it was like a bit of a wobbly jaw.
It's the biggest tail, Michelle. Whenever you've got cedar connectors, you gurn.
Illy? Anyway, does have a hand for you, a question for you, Tom.
Uh-huh.
He says, in a hand earlier, when someone was all in, you said, as if to the other players, don't bluff, check it down. Bluffing a dry pot, I believe it's called. Is there a succinct way to explain why it's a bad idea? I come across players doing that a lot, and I'm not articulate enough to explain why it's a dreadful play. Can you help?
Thanks for that, Illy. Yeah, I mean, it's a mistake that probably everyone's made at some point in their poker career. I don't know if I do have a particularly succinct way to describe it. I'll just say what you said, but say it slower, which is that if you're in a three-way pot and one player is all in, and let's say you're drawing to a flush, while normally you might love to put in a semi-bluff with that flush draw, if someone is all in and you just push out the third guy with chips and leave yourself heads up with the guy who's all in, well, you can't win the pot because the guy who's all in can't be bluffed off and he's probably got a better hand. So it's called bluffing a dry pot, dry side pot, because the guy who's still got chips, who you can bluff out, has not yet invested any money in that side pot for you to take off him with a bluff. I don't know if that was an articulate description or not, but that's the way I see it.
I think it was wonderfully articulate,
Thank you,
Doc.
Michelle.
We're going to head to a cash game. It's good, isn't it?
Well, we haven't got many other alternatives, but it's still great.
We've had a lot of people requesting cash games more, so I've been trying to slip them in tonight
Okay.
as much as possible.
Well, it would have helped if you got knocked out earlier then.
I tried. Tried to win. I didn't. I come second. I'm on Casper's heels.
You're on his heels. Yeah, you are. And quite a long way ahead of the rest of the pack, as far as I can tell. Of course, I only play with other people's money, so... So here we are, on a 25.50 cash game. Look, it's Cincinnati Kid there.
He's doing a lot of playing tonight, our Cincinnati Kid.
Yes, he is.
He was doing a couple of tournaments when he was in mine.
Going, it all gets a walk. And 3 aces are out. 6-handed in this game, officially short-handed. And Ace Queen, a pretty strong hand in a short-handed Texas game. The usual fears of Ace King are much allayed when there's only 5 other players.
Do you have to change your play when you go from tournament to cash?
Yes, but not for the reasons why people often think.
Okay.
They think that tournaments are all about preserving your chips and avoiding sort of close sort of match-ups, looking for big situations, making big plays. Mm-hmm. All of these perfectly applicable to cash games. The 2 big differences between tournament play and cash game play are that there's no bubble in the cash game, so you can never make money just by avoiding a confrontation, whereas in the bubble, of course, you can, by staying out of a pot, move up into the prize money. But that's true only at the bubble. It's not true early on. It's not true in the mid-game where people are trying to survive. There they may as well double up or bust out and go home. Mm. And the other respect in which cash games are very different from tournament play is simply that in cash games you are generally much deeper stacked, and in tournaments, certainly in small tournaments, sort of £20 rebuys, towards the end, most people, the average stack at the table is quite short, it's quite small. Mm. So it tends to be a kind of bet or fold kind of game. In cash game, there's a lot more stop and start, calling, and then blasting out a big bet.
Is this true? Because I don't know if it's a true statement or not. You have to abide by the odds more in a cash game.
It's a complete fallacy that odds are more relevant in a cash game. Odds are odds.
Really, is it? Because
yeah, well, it depends what the odds are. I mean, if I think that there's say I want to put in a semi-bluff in a tournament, and I think there's a 25% chance my opponent will fold, and there's a 25% chance I make my hand, then I can put in a semi-bluff. You know, that's fine. I can do that all in one go.
I don't know where I got it from though, but in my head I had, when playing a cash, you've really got to work on the odds. In a tournament it doesn't matter so much because you're hoping to catch and you're trying to do something tricky.
I think it's much overstated. Basically, the idea is that tournaments are great situations for plays, but plays are still odds-based. You know, nearly all plays have some sort of outs attached to them. So, no, I don't buy it.
Oh, excellent, okay.
We're now 7-handed here. Top 2 for going for it all.
I don't think he's going to get anything out of Cincinnati Kid though.
Nope.
See, that's the thing, you can ask for the wonderful hands, but if somebody else hasn't got a decent hand to pay you off, then it's always the situation you're looking for, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's weird how you go from one to the other. A lot of people like tournaments, a lot of people like cash games, a lot of people have phases of one and then the other. I find a cash game very slow. Mm-hmm. Because I only play in the 15-cent, 25-cent cash games, I seem to move up and down very slowly. Whereas in the tournaments, you win all the money or you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, cash games, if you finish with 25% up on what you sat down with, then that's a pretty good result. Whereas in a tournament, that's never going to happen. You either, as you say, you win at least double what you sat down to play with, or you bust out.
And it's really frustrating when you've been sitting playing for 2 hours or 3 hours and you've made like $4. I know it's because I'm in a small cash game, but it's really annoying. I'm so impatient. It's really not a good poker trait.
You're probably better suited to tournaments.
I think so, yeah. I did go through a cash game stage where I played cash games all the time. And I did quite well, but then I started losing and I moved over to tournaments. I think I lost one and got the hump and moved over to tournament. I lost all my buy-in, got the hump and went over to a tournament. And I've been stuck there since.
Mombasa takes it down with ace queen. I think we're coming back into vision, Michelle. Look, here we are.
Here we are. Hello.
Oh.
But that's because we're going to a break soon.
Oh.
We've got an email here from 24 Ginger. It says, "Hi, Dr. Tom and Night Nurse. Just one question. Where have you been, Tom? We've all missed you. Is this just a flying visit? Poker Night Live is so much better when we have your expert knowledge and wit."
Ah, thank you very much, 24 Ginger. I've been briefly in Reno, about 7 hours in the
Is
tournament.
that all?
Well, in the tournament, yeah. And I've been on a top secret mission in Prague.
Top secret mission. Listen to you.
So that's where I've been. That's all I'm
Won't
saying.
ask
No
you
matter how long you
anymore.
leave the camera on me.
We have another question for you, Dr. Tom.
Okay.
It's from Daz. Hi, Daz. He says, "Hi, I play low level, no limit cash games, 25 cent, 50 cent, or 50 cent, $1, as I still consider myself as a learner, but would like to progress to the $1, $2 or the 2-4 cash game. However, you can get an enormous number of limpers and even significant raises can end with many calls, which then make working out who's hit what very difficult. I attribute the limping and also sometimes small minimum raises down to many sites having a lot of US-based limit players who still play in a limit rather than no-limit manner. What do you think is a good strategy for such games? Table selection seemed to me quite key. Obviously, ones with higher average pots, but also with many short stack compared to maximum buy-in, and a few, if any, large stacks over the max buy-in. Also, which books or articles are worth reading as regards to cash game play, as I haven't seen too many that address the cash game." Well, thank you, Daz, for your email. Pass you over to Doc.
All right, thanks, Daz. What was the last question about books and articles?
Books or articles worth reading in regards to cash games.
That's interesting. Right, okay, yeah, the situation there where you've got lots of players coming in and you say you don't quite know where you are because there's so many people coming in. I mean, the secret really is just to play at the top end of hands, because if you're playing, say, on the flop with something that's quite close to the nuts, you know, then how many hands above you can they be? So just stick with a higher range of hands and expect to get paid royally when you make your hand. Same old story, really. If you're getting lots of people coming in without much, then sit and wait, and patience will pay off. 1, 2 and 2, 4 are reasonably tough games to play in at no limit, just to warn you. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, short stacks. Interesting that you say that you think it's obvious that you should sit down in games where there are short stacks. I certainly agree with you that you want to play in games where there are big average pots, because almost inevitably that means that some people in there are playing badly. Short stacks don't necessarily make things any easier or better for you. They do change the dynamic of the game because there's less bluffing and you get more side pots. So you certainly do need to be good at handling side pots if you're going to play in a game with lots of short stacks. But they don't necessarily make things any easier for you unless you choose to regard the presence of lots of short stacks in the tournament as an indicator that people are weak players. And often they are, in fairness. Generally the good players prefer to sit down with big stacks. Not that that means that all people with big stacks are necessarily good players. So fair enough if you want to go that way, although it can be a bit frustrating because you can't really ever get to a situation where you can do a lot of bluffing. Finally, books that refer to cash games. Well, there's absolutely no reason why you can't go to Super System, or Chiafoni's Improve Your Poker is cash game based.
Okay, well, we're heading to a break now, so don't go away, have a look at Poker News. We'll be looking at that final table of the multi-table tournament when the Doc and I come back as well, so don't miss that. We'll see you then. Good evening and welcome back to Poker Night Live. Do remember, if you have any questions for our expert, Dr. Tom, tonight, he's got his special shirt on, which looks very lovely, then you can text us. Remember that text number. It's 84222. Do text the word poker first and then your question to 84222. And do send us some, because we do like hearing from you. We love the questions. Email as well. You can email them to us, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Well, as promised, we do have our multi-table tournament to go to, so I think we should head straight there and have a look at the final table. Here we go, through the poker matrix.
Do you remember that Europe song, Final Countdown?
Yeah.
We should have like that for the final table.
We're not allowed, I don't think. We should have Tragic Trev sing it for us.
Yeah, okay.
Because he did before, didn't he, for What's in the Hole?
So I heard. I never heard it.
Did you not? It was pretty good.
Look, I told you about Alpig, what a sterling player he was. He's in there, second place, chips.
Well, look,
Well,
8th
look.
place, excuse me, I do know. Person that went out in 8th place, getting a bit croaky, was Balaga Mike, and he won $80.80.
Not bad.
Bear in mind there was 51 runners, and it's $20 to play. Person that went out in 7th place was Chipper Cruel, and he won $101.
Not bad.
And 6th place was El Trev, and he won $131.
Not bad.
Not bad.
And so they're now guaranteed 5th place is what?
5th place is $161.
And they're fighting for 4th, which is what?
141.
But that's less, Michelle. So we should alert them.
No,
to
I've just got that the wrong way around. 5th is 141, and 4th is 161.
Okay.
Shall I just check?
Yeah, you check, Michelle.
All right, okay. 6th was 131. 5th. Oh, that's because somebody sent me the wrong thing. So 6th is 131, 5th is 161, and 4th is 191.
Right, so it's $30 between 5th and 4th. Super. Glad we cleared that up.
Well, it's very important that we know the prize odds here.
Yep. So blind 600, 1200. Short stack Blue Sparrow, he takes that one down. And he's got about 10 big blinds.
Oh, I remember when I was on the final table of a multi-table tournament.
Do you? What was the entry fee?
$5.
And how much did you win?
160.
Well, not bad.
Not bad, $5, was it? Come in 4th. 400 runners. It's a long old time though, the multi-table tournaments. You play for a long time.
How long did it take you?
About 3.5 4 hours, I think. But it's fun. So you can make money and it's fun. But who's it going to be? Blue Sparrow, How Not To, Back Lady, Alpig, and the Hacksman.
Who's your money on?
How Not To,
Okay, mine's on Alpig. How much?
£1.
All right.
I don't actually have £1 on me though.
Okay. I'll
Can
put
you
my
lend me a
wallet back.
£1?
I don't think I'll see it again.
I've got €1.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I fancy Alpig so much, as it were, I'll bet my pound against the euro.
Okay.
Get it out?
All right. Yes, I've got it on me now.
Actually, I haven't got a pound.
I don't think I have €1.
There you go, some foreign money.
I've got €20.
And Alpig's in there with Queen 10.
So my €20 up against your... What's that?
Those aren't even euros, those are 20 euro cents.
That's a 10p, Dr. Tom. That's not foreign, that's English.
Okay. I was getting ready to take my money back there because I thought Alpig was about to go all in. But he's got away from it.
Pile. There's your pile. Take that away.
Okay. Don't try this at home, kids. Betting with coins whose value you don't even understand.
Where's that from?
I think it's Yugoslavian. Here he is, ace-king suited, and he's got the ace and the king in his opponent's hands dominated. So he's got very little to worry about. Just a 10 now. Now he's on a roll. He's got the ace-10 suited on the button. Don't think either of your players, how not to, or bag lady, are going to enter the pot. So a straightforward bet. 3,000 should do it. Looks like he might even be trying to goad Blue Sparrow into a raise with that little bet there. Hasn't worked. I think he probably would have called a raise. Now your man's got ace-king.
Well, I've got a question for you, Doc.
Okay.
If you could have a magic poker power, which one would you pick? Would you like to be able to see everybody's whole cards? Or would you like to see what the board is going to be?
Everyone's whole cards.
Oh, thank you very much.
Did you bet on me giving that answer?
No, I was working with Matt and we had an argument and I said whole cards and he said board. And then loads of people texted in agreeing with Matt, saying that I was wrong. But since then, everyone's agreed with me. James, you, Nick.
Oh, if you know what they've got, then how can they win?
I know. That's what I said.
I mean, you're going to find out what the whole cards are.
Anyway.
But you're never going to find out what the whole cards are. So I agree with you.
Thanks, Tom. Bring it on, Broughton. What a load of rubbish. Does the Sparrow go for the steal? It will actually work if he does, but not worth it with the King 3, fair enough.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's... Cow Knight 2 might look him up. And because this is a multi-table, I mean, there's some mileage in having someone knocked out. And he hasn't absolutely got to move right now. He can wait a bit. And waiting serves a dual purpose of... Well, next time he decides to bet, he might have a better hand.
Can he go through another blinds, though, Blue Sparrow?
Someone might get knocked out, which means that he'll move up $30. But yeah, when the blinds go up, things get a bit difficult.
Well, even now can be, because I'd be really worrying if I was Blue Sparrow and hoping to go all in before the next blind.
Yeah, I mean, once he's got 3.5, 4 big blinds, I think he has to move. So you can see the button go once. The blinds have just gone up 800, 1,600.
Oh, nice pair of cowboys. Bag lady might go for the steal as well with the ace 3.
I think she'll feel she's got to. And I'll go all in here, because there's 5,600 in the pot. Yeah, and he sees it likewise. No point risking the outdraw. Bag lady was about 1 in 3 to win that one by the river, so I think Axeman did the right thing. He's only going to get more of bag lady's chips in the middle on the flop if bag lady gets a draw or catches an ace, so there's no point in letting her see that flop when she'll be good shape. Difficult hand to play. Axeman decides to keep it simple. Blue Sparrow lets this one go. As you say, Michelle, he's going to have to think about betting when he gets that button next go, if it's folded round to him.
So he's looking for the hand now. Hand to push and double through.
That's
It's
it.
Jack, there it is. And might get a bit of action from the King Queen.
Yeah, he doesn't want it though, unfortunately. He's got to make a tough decision now because is it Hacks or Max? He's almost certainly going to have to bet here. And Blue Sparrow was looking for an uncontested pot. Now that is a difficult situation. I think he's got to push. I push, he does. But it's not what he was looking for, and he's going to be disappointed to find out his opponent doesn't have a worse ace, but has got 2 live cards and flushing ones at that.
Oh, he's hit one of them.
Yeah, ace needed, not there.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Sparrow.
Never mind, 160 bucks.
161, yep.
How much is third worth, Michelle?
252.
Ah, so quite a big jump from 190 to 252.
Yeah. $60 in it.
Bag lady now at the short stack.
I mean, there's such a big difference on the last table from 8th place to 1st place. It's been such a long track to get to the last table, and you may still only get $80. Whereas the winner takes 600.
So what's your point?
Well, it just doesn't seem fair.
You think everyone should get their buy-in back minus the house charge?
Yeah, why not?
I'm sure the house would be up for it. Axe is all in, not called. Bag lady dwindling now down to about 6
Ooh,
big blinds.
The ace jack.
Yeah, and Hex might just make a stand. Quite easy to let go. Yeah, and he does let it go. And Bag Lady now going to be looking to make a move of her own when she gets the button, if she doesn't have an opportunity to defend one of her 2 blinds with some sort of hand. That's not much of a hand, but she might get a walk. Depends if Hax feels like betting with his suited jack. He does, nay. Your player's been very quiet, Michelle.
Yes, biding his time.
Playing for
Waiting
second.
for the hands. Look, he's gone for a dig.
Tempting for Bag, 3 to 1. He's going to catch a pair.
Ooh.
Oh, I like the bet. I like the bet. If he's called, if he's misjudged it, his opponent has ace jack or ace queen or something, he's got live cards. Well played. Terrible play from your man. Well, it was all right, but you know.
What, he went for a little dig?
I'm
He
just-
knew that she couldn't afford to
To raise with nothing.
raise with nothing. Well, she kind of did.
Aye, she's got the bit between her teeth, and not a good hand to call with 5s. You can bet it, but you can't really call with in that situation. Because you know at best you're looking at a coin flip most of the time. So Bag Lady definitely on the up and can let that one go. She probably would have bet it had she not done betting before, but now she can let it go because her table image is so frisky. Just a call from Pig, interesting. Doesn't want to be raised off it and catches nothing. Might be tempted to bet it. Yes, he does. Trying to buy it cheaply, but not against the up and down straight draw with 2 overcards. He's not. Maxman, I think, is going to call, and I agree with the call there because there is a danger that L Pig has got a pair and will make a stand. So
7, 8,
Maxman
9,
just
10
calls,
jack.
goes for the straight, catches it on the turn.
Nice.
Yeah, dangerous for L Pig because he's got a pair. He's going to
It's your
play that.
man.
Oh, good fold.
Good fold.
Excellent fold. Out of position, didn't want to face another bet on the river, just let it go then. And there's his reward.
He's not got much clientele out there, I don't think, though.
Nope.
Unless he does a little raise, they put him on a steal and try and re-raise him.
No, takes it down. Could be a walk because How Not To got stung last time he played from the small blind.
And will again.
Think Bag Lady will get away from this?
Now she will.
I think so, yeah.
Queen Jack.
Going to have to bet that four-handed. 3 big blinds is fine for me. I'm not looking for a fight. Oh, lets it go, playing very tight. Fair enough, but I think most people would bet it.
Yeah, it is a difficult one when you're desperately trying to hang on, hope that you can go another step up the ladder, because the money is such a big difference. But you've got to play to win still, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how not to is... there's no point throwing away a chance of winning the tournament. But fair enough. I mean, it was only queen high, but I think it's a clear stealing hand. Four-handed. Might even be ahead. And that's taken the wind out of Hax's sails, and he must fold, actually, the winning hand there. Or the best hand. Bag lady, onwards and upwards. Now Pig also playing fairly tight. Folds the ace there. Looks like both he and How Not To are looking for a situation where they've got a clear edge. Either pre-flop with a big hand or on the flop.
Yeah. Oh, How Not To can get away from that now, even though he's one card. He is better, isn't he? Because he's king 3 to king 2, obviously. But then Haxman has the suitedness.
Yeah, and they'll normally split it if they don't catch a kicker. But Hax is certainly on the aggressive side here. He might take this. Certainly if he can exploit other players' wish to move up the prize ladder, but then Bag Lady is pushing with all sorts of cards here. She's sensed the reticence of Held Pig and How Not To get involved.
She might go here with the king 10 suited.
What might save her is the fact that she just bet. She might not bet it too big, she might just bet small here. In trouble.
It's going to get called.
Yep. Yeah, Hax knows that jacks aren't huge. But Bag catches the king.
Wow.
Chip leader suddenly.
That's been well played, isn't it, from Bag Lady? Very aggressive.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on the all-in move of the king 10 there, because she was only going to get called by a better hand, and there was a possibility she would get called. Yeah. I think she rather overstepped it there. I wouldn't have minded a small probing raise. Now, surely, this is big enough for our Pig to bet. Yeah.
Ooh, I hope How Not To gets away from it.
There's a danger, I think he's going to fold, but there's a danger he'll think Pig hasn't bet for so long, he might be in a bluffing mood. But ace 4 too small. Still, Bag Lady getting better odds, decides not to come in.
Not much going on here.
I think you've got a fancy Bag Lady now, to be honest.
I know, so what does that happen with our bet then? The euros and the whatever they are you've got?
The dinars.
Clinkers.
They're dinars, that's what they are.
Clinkers.
Serbian dinars. We get them back. Split pot. I think Bag Lady might move here. Let's see. Yep, smallish bet. And Pig, I think, may read this correctly. No, puts it down, gives her the benefit of the doubt. He's definitely playing a waiting game here. And it wouldn't surprise me if he knew in his heart there was a reasonable chance he was ahead there. But now he's picked up a decent hand, and he will bet it, and I think it'll be 3.5 times the big blind. There it is. 3 times. And How Not To's really got to let it go, I think.
Well done. Pig a little bit more ahead there. Oh, king, queen. Let's see if how not to decides to bet this one. The ace might go for the steal.
I think so. It's getting quite short stacked. 10 big blinds. It's not a great hand, but probably there's no ace out there.
What does how not to do? He folds it.
Yeah, he knows.
Very tight.
If he raises, then Maxman's probably going to have to come in. So he can't get Maxman to put it down. And he might well be behind, so I don't really blame him for the fold.
No?
Yeah, because he wants to win an uncontested pot, and if he raises there, he knows he's going to take it to a showdown.
So he wants to be the one raising and trying to take it down
Yeah.
with a decent hand and not having to get jiggy with somebody that's raised into him.
Or even with nothing, whatever. He wants to be putting his opponents in a situation where they can fold and give it to him uncontested.
Ace queen. Is that good enough for him? Come on, you're my man, how to. Get it raised.
I don't think he'll get... Oh
He
my
folds
gosh.
the ace queen.
I think you've picked a duffer.
How not to? That's exactly right. How not to play ace queen when... I know you're under the gun, but surely four-handed, that's it. That's a bet there.
I can't understand what happened there.
Maybe you pressed the wrong button.
Blinds have
And the blinds have just gone up.
gone up.
He's not playing to win, is he? He's trying to just limp in there an extra...
I can't believe that. Ace queen four-handed.
No,
First-
he's not been raised into. He's first to act fair enough, but...
That's madness.
What
Let's
about the
see.
tens? If he does it now, it's going to be going into an ace king.
It's difficult because, again, here, well, I mean, at least with the ace queen, he was taking initiative. Here he's going to be facing someone else's bet, so he can credibly fold here. I don't like it. I think you've got to call with the tens, to be honest.
I think he's going to fold. He's been playing so tight.
Based on his previous profile, I think if he folds the ace queen, when no one's done any betting, he must fold the tens.
Wow, look at him. He's so tight.
But I think you've got to call there. Not pleasant.
Oh, what's he waiting for? Either the aces or the kings, or maybe the ace king, or the others to knock themselves out. Text us how not to, 84222, and let us know what your game plan is. And you're my man, so you've got to win so I can win Dr. Tom's clinkers. Or whatever they are.
Those are coins on the table in case you've just joined the show. Well, he likes those little minimum raises. He's got the idea that how not to doesn't want to play and will surrender his big blind for tuppence. But Hacksman may work out what's going on here. Wouldn't surprise me if he moves all in here. He can persuade Bagley to put down a range of hands here. Yeah, he does that. I think he's read that very well. How not to folds, and Baglady, I think, has got a fold as well here. No point getting belligerent. He's got a free lunch with how not to's big blind. So after doing the customary dwell up, he lets his hand go.
Or she.
Or she, beg your pardon. Difficult to tell sometimes with these bag ladies.
Well, did he make a stand with the ace-10? Definitely a good hand to be sticking it in with for the blinds.
Not bad, not bad. The trouble is, if it gets raised, he'll probably have to let it go, but I don't think 6-2 is going to do that. It'd be a great play if he does raise. He's capable of making it, but he doesn't know. And I wonder whether these three players have just really sensed what's going on with how not to and have mentally
He's
decided
dwindling away now, look at him.
just to not get involved into pots with each other and slowly milk how not to between them. Well, Old Pig's game plan is obviously to be raising rather than calling. Not sure when I last saw him call a pot. And this could well be a walk to hacks. I think he's going to have to let it go, and he does. Now, Bag Lady's going to want to move here, I think. He's in the mood for nicking How Not To's big blind, but Hacks is in the way, and he's read it right before, but the hand is just one pip weaker this time, Jack King. He's better than Bag Lady, but not quite as good as the last time he made a move. Dare he? He might have to let it go. Or call. Yeah, lets it go.
Of course. So does How Not To.
Could have action here, Michelle. I think Hacksman's going to have to bet this, and Bag Lady might make a stand. Now, Hacksman can fold, and Bag Lady knows this, so she might just move. But is she of the view that just by letting it go and keeping on milking How Not To, it's a safer game plan? Yeah, that seems to be what she's doing. King, Queen. It's fine if you can reliably push your man off something like Ace-6, but if he's never going to fold a worse hand, then it's pointless chucking it all in. First time we've seen this for a while. Just completion, and Al Pig punishes Bag Lady and reads it perfectly right. Well played.
Your man getting a bit closer, now he has the kings.
Praying that someone's going to raise into him. Flat call, minimum raise, one or the other. No, puts in a substantial raise, hoping that it will look like a scared raise that doesn't want to call, and so prompt a raise from Hacksman, but it doesn't come in.
Ace-8 suited on the big blind.
Someone's going to attack it, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. I don't
Bag
blame
Lady.
her, though, because he puts down to everything.
Mm-hmm.
He really should be pushing here, because she's been doing it to him every time. He must know. Come on, How Not To. Push in. All in, come on.
I don't think I've ever seen such lame play in a tournament on Poker Night Live.
I know, How Not To. You're really showing us how not to play in the last 4 of a tournament. We've had some really big hands. We've put them down. And Dr. Tom and I aren't the loosest of players, are we? I've obviously learnt off the master.
Have you got his address?
You rub your gold dust off onto me every now and then, don't you?
It's dandruff.
Nice. But look, How Not To's got like 12,000 left. Come on, Ace-Jack. It's unfortunate there's an Ace-Queen out there, but...
But stick it in anyway.
Stick it in anyway. I would expect you to with an Ace-Jack on the button.
Yeah, sadly, the fold is the wrong move here, even though he's behind. Do you think something happened with his connection?
It could be, to be fair to him.
I think that must be it. Ah, no.
So now you stick chips in.
Well, he's right to stick it in. It's bad timing.
Oh, please do not fold. I know that obviously we can see that you really should, but if you couldn't see Elpig's hand, it's got to be a call, isn't it? That's his own fault that he went out fourth. $191. It's good, but you could have been chip leader there, and I'm annoyed at losing my €20.
It's not 20 euros. Don't pretend you're a high roller.
Oh, sorry,
it's
20.
20 euro cents.
What do you call them anyway? The little euros.
That's a good
cent
point.
things.
Yeah, it's euro cent. Euro cent. Euro cent. Thank you.
I can't believe you actually took them. Cheapskate.
So,
You pocketed it, but you might lose it, in which case it's a split pot.
yeah, but I've decided that it was a last longer bet anyway, so I win just because my man's still in.
Big fat cheat. Well, top three, we've got $606 to first, $404 to second, and $252 to third. So huge money being played for here. This is really where the game is starting as far as the prize pools are concerned. Is concerned.
Yeah, more than half the money in this three-handed comp, and they're battling out for the difference between 252 and 404. Probably going to have to raise that king. No, lets it go. Good fold.
Jacks, nice. Unfortunately, the ace jack's out there, which could get a bit
It's
scary.
It's all going to go all in, I think, here, Michelle.
There's only the ace he's got to watch. He's got to hopefully not for L-pig.
Now, if he comes over the top, Bag Lady probably can get away from it, in fact. Just about. But L-pig is flat called.
It's a lovely flop for L-pig.
Yep. And now he might as well close him out with a raise. That's what he does.
Bag Lady, she's all in now. That's a shame she ended up all in with that hand. She would have been better off pushing it pre-flop.
Interesting the way it played out, but L-pig in good shape.
So Bag Lady is third with $252. Look, did you know? Did you know something? Were you told who wins it?
No, I've just seen L-pig play lots of good poker before. He's got a good track record. I love it when you look at me suspiciously, Michelle. He hasn't won it yet, anyway.
No.
But he's well on the way. Maxman with 11 big blinds. Hacksman, beg his pardon. Michelle on the soft mints. Thank you. And they're going to take a flop. L-pig races into the lead. And all about reading your opponent here. Is my small pair good enough? Interesting. Leaving plenty of room for draws. Axeman doesn't have one. L-pig takes it down. Next case. And he'll let that go, I think. Oh, comes in. It's going to get raised.
Just a call.
Just a check from Hacks. Very touch
I'm
and
giving
go.
L-pig the tens.
I think I know what he's doing there. He's saying paired boards are good to bluff on, so this will look like a bluff.
He doesn't have a call though, does he, Hacksman?
No.
Oh, and it's a 7-8.
Yeah, we were talking about these sorts of cards in heads-up games earlier, weren't we?
We were.
Not much there for either of them. Let's see if position works for L-pig here. He knows his hand is so bad that he's only going to win it with a bluff, probably. So a check might give him the pot with a bet, but now he can let it go.
Again, card spin your hand actually being quite irrelevant.
Two players of queens, not massive. Still fairly touch and go before the flop. Not seen big hands, have we?
We're not. Although I think Hacksman will do something with the fives. Oh, he's gone all in.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He doesn't want to be stranded on the flop, not knowing where he is.
I mean, Hacksman's at the stage now where there's not really much raising left in him. Well, there is now. He's got 20,000. When he had that 15,000, there's not loads of raising he can do other than being committed to the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
And Elpig obviously will know that, so he knows that any raising he does into him, he's only going to be in for all his chips or not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they're at that awkward state where there's not really much play, but the bet from one of them is too big for the other one to call, so we're just not seeing flops, or we're not seeing bets called and taken to showdowns. Blinds 1,500, 3,000 now. So Maxman now down to 7 blinds, 7 big blinds. That could make a big difference. And Orpe, he's going to put pressure on here. He really should with this ace. It's pretty unlikely. I don't understand why he's calling and letting his opponent see a flop. On this site, the dealer is the big blind. And Orpe has just paid before the flop and left his opponent in position. But it's starting to go downwards for Axeman. Suited Jack is not the sort of hand he really wants to make a move with, but he's decided to do it anyway. Well, Pig looks like he's thinking about making a great call, but he doesn't. That's okay, gives his opponent the benefit of the doubt. He knows that if he is ahead, he's not ahead by far, probably.
Mm. Checks. Got the 9. Oh, I could see it going in here.
Yeah, middle pair is good enough for all those chips.
That's a horrible for Hacksman, isn't it?
Yeah, he's in trouble. Yeah,
It's
he's
about as
out.
bad as it could have got for him. Oh well, off he goes. The Hacksman gets $404. And Elpig gets 606.
And I get
Dollars.
20 euro cents.
And you got 20 euros, Dr. Tom.
Euro cents.
20 cents, whatever it is. I think you were told that Elpig won that and you cheated.
The boy played well.
I have an email from Hacksman actually. He says, "Morning Michelle and Dr. Tom. Just a quick email. Was wondering how you viewed my play during the multi-table tournament. Assuming this gets read out after the tournament has finished. I was playing as the Hacksman and finished second. Not sure if I played a little quiet heads up, although I didn't really get too much to move in with. Any views would be welcome, as always. And not a bad result, since it was my first game on this site. Well, congratulations. That's a lot of work to get to second. And Elpig, as Dr. Tom says, good player, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I think he played well. I don't mind the heads up. It was, when you say it was quiet, it was relatively considered. And I'm pleased to see players looking at flops. So, no, I don't think you did much wrong. I mean, I've been commentating on your play for the last half an hour or so, so hopefully some of that makes sense to you. But thanks for getting in touch with the studio.
Yes, thanks, Hacksman. We've got an email from Tony. He says, "Hi, guys. Tony, a.k.a. the Big Tree here. For the last 3 hours, I have battled my way down to the last 31 places of a big tournament, paying top 30. With an average stack, I was assured of the money. I'm very hopeful of a final table. The site has gone down completely and hasn't gone back up yet. What is the standard procedure in this situation? No doubt some sites will differ. Surely if the tournament cannot be resumed at the exact point it crashed, then the prize fund should be prorated between the remaining players." Very interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I don't know, sites differ in the way they do these things, but basically you're in the hands of the site and you can only assume and hope that they will deal with it equitably. It is, of course, not certain that it's not just you who's gone down. If it's just you who's gone down, of course, you'll get nothing. If it's a site that's gone down, then they will work out what they'll do. But best of luck. All I can say is if you don't agree with what the site has done for you, you don't have much comeback, unfortunately, but you can, of course, talk loudly about it on all the poker forums, and we suggest you do, because bad behaviour should be talked about like that.
Okay, thank you very much for your emails. We're going to head over to a cash game for the last part of the evening, so let's have a look.
Here we are. Oh, 25.50, Cincinnati Kids. It's like nothing's changed, isn't it?
Oh, they're all still there. We've got Alignut, Kent, Catanash, Cincinnati Kid, Snuggybug, and Going for it all. So what have you been playing lately, Doc? Cash games, tournaments?
I was playing a bit of 7-card stud in the studio, actually, before we came up on air.
How did that go? Did you win?
I think that was about $4 up.
Wonderful.
Well, it's not a bad start.
It's $4 you didn't have when you got it.
It's the sort of game I like to play.
Paid for your pastry?
In a home, you pay for more than a pastry. You pay for a pastry and banana.
It's wonderful.
And I didn't even have the banana, so I'm quids in. But interesting game. But, you know, not really my cup of tea. Difficult to find a game. I was talking to someone the other day who's a German, and he says that in Germany, in a casino, it's pretty tough to find a game in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically all 7-card stud.
Is it similar? Can you use your skills from Texas?
It's about as different as games can be in poker, but they still do share the basic concepts of poker. The same things we bang on about: reverse implied odds, the river principle, you know, having good starting values. All this sort of stuff still applies, but
You don't know the starting values, though. I was watching James playing Omaha the other day.
Omaha High.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Where you get the 4 cards. And like he had 3 kings. I was like, oh, three kings. He folded. I was like, what are you folding for? He said, because I can only use 2 cards. So I know the other king's gone, so I'm not going to hit trips. I've got 2 other rubbish cards, so there's no point in me playing to the raise. And it's really odd to watch
Absolutely,
it.
yeah. Fold even to no raise.
Yeah,
I've also been tangled a bit with limit, actually, which is not really my game, but I found myself in a situation where they only played limit in the cash games. So to be sociable, I've been playing. And it's quite an interesting game.
I haven't really played a limit. I went into a limit tournament by mistake, and I ended up winning it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you win it by mistake?
No, just good, solid play. It was very odd though, because it doesn't cost much. If you already put lots of money in the pot, you tend you'll call any bet on the river anyway.
Exactly. That's why it's a silly game. I think that it seems to me that although there's certainly skill in limit, there's no doubt that there's skill in terms of getting a bet or missing a bet. But the difference between limit and pot limit is that against a poor player in pot limit and no limit, you still have lots of difficult choices in terms of whether to trap them, whether to isolate them, what risks to take against them. But in limit, against a poor player, it's just straightforward, because the only way you can really be poor in limit is by just calling too many hands.
Yeah.
And so in limit, all you do against such a player is just go to the river with him and hope to be ahead. So in that sense, it's a less satisfying game, because the exact people that you are trying to prey on, you can't use your skill to get, because everyone at the table can get those players in limit. But in pot limit or no limit, if you're a good player, you're better able to exploit those weak players' weaknesses than are the other people at the table.
I actually played some pot limit at the gut shot the other day. Mr. Wellthall took me down there.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't mind pot limit. I mean, you generally can end up all in anyway, because the pot can get so big that it doesn't really matter. It was a bit difficult to play because everyone was raising ridiculously pre-flop. But it was interesting playing pot limit.
Yeah, it's unless you're very deep in chips, it's not substantially different from no limit, really. I mean, there are some differences, but it's a closer cousin of low limit than it is to limit. Middle pair for Mr. Nutt. Good for 2. Flush draw as well now, but he has been outdrawn. And the straight draw. And of course the 2-8, 2 10s. So he had lots of outs.
None of them come.
None of them came. Jack takes it. There's the rent. What's Cincinnati Kid going to do with his ace-queen? For sure he's not going to fold it like your man How Not To.
Cincinnati Kid's been a busy bee tonight, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He won one sit and go. First out against
Snuggy
you.
Bug was watching my Beat the Presenter. I think he had a go at me for something. Can't remember what though.
Taking his seat.
No, something. Said I did something bad. I can't remember what. Bad play or something. Bad call or something.
Oh.
Or just generally you're rubbish or something like that. Can't remember.
I called someone with. I told the story last night, but I like it so much to tell it again.
Okay.
Because it's great play on my part.
Brilliant.
And I never
Pick
tire of
yourself up,
hearing
Tom.
stories like that. I called someone on the net the other day with Jack High on the river, quite a big bet, because I thought I was winning.
Oh, Jack High.
Yeah, and I was, and he called me an asterisky moron. It's not very nice, is it?
Well, you read it right. What did you put back?
I said, why? And then
you got into a little argument, did you, Dr. Tom?
Then he got abusive and said, come and play, because we were playing on a $10 sit and go heads up, and he said, come and play on the 200. So I went over and sat in one, and he never turned up.
I've seen that before, where people get into a massive argument, challenge each other to heads up, and off they go.
Yeah, and only one turns up.
You go to watch them, and the other one chickens out. I love it when there's a massive argument. It's really funny. I generally type something in and join in.
You wade in.
Come the mediator. Now, children. Language, please. Ladies present. It's quite funny on a tape I was playing on the other day. It was half English, half American. That was funny. We got into a massive battle of the countries.
Mm.
We won, of course.
On what criteria?
But we were better.
Oh, poker.
Oh, sorry, yeah, poker.
Not at trading insults in the chat box.
No.
Two pair versus the power draw here for Cincinnati, but he doesn't make his outs. So two pair good, but seriously damaged by the ace arriving, because now he's losing to someone holding just a 9. And that's a rather forlorn bet, but it works. So I take it back. It's a great bet. Well played, Cincinnati. See, my opinion of Cincinnati's gone up and up throughout the evening.
Yeah.
Now he's got the aces. How is he going to play them? Is this a fitting hand to take us to the end of the show, Michelle?
I hope so.
You hope it's fitting, or are you just praying it's the end of the show?
I'm hoping that I don't think he's getting action. I think he's just going to bet and everyone's going to fold.
So it's an unfitting hand.
Yeah, not very exciting.
I think you might be right. How come 4-6 is in there with no chips in front of him?
I don't know, but look, Mr. 2-3's come in for the ride for some reason.
It's because it's the last hand madness.
Last hand madness. What does he do? The ace is trying to...
It's got 5 outs. Plus the backdoor inside straight draw.
Oh, well, he goes.
No, he lets it go. Well, that's
I don't
it.
know why the 4-6 is still there.
I don't know. It's spooky.
Spooky.
Right.
Well, that's the end.
That is the end.
And we actually have run out of time as well.
We have indeed.
Are you just going to keep repeating me?
I'm not going to carry on repeating you.
Okay. Well, Doc, it's been wonderful to have you back.
It's been a pleasure, Michelle,
It has
as
been
always.
a pleasure. It's
been
lovely
a pleasure.
seeing you.
And
Thanks
to
for all
see
your
you.
poker tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for your second place finish.
Buy your shirt, it's lovely. And that is the end. Do join us tomorrow at 10 p.m, all the way through to 2 a.m. for some more poker action. From Dr. Tom and the Night Nurse, it is over and out.